In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. On the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of night, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist, we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light.
La vara en te quiero, puedo sentarlo de mi vuelo. La vara en tu nido, hasta el luna empalado. La vara en te quiero, puedo sentarlo de mi vuelo. La vara en tu nido, hasta el luna empalado. La vara sento, stella vola sento, stella vola sento, hasta el luna empalado. La vara sento, stella vola sento, stella vola sento, por hasta el luma del bailao. La vara en te quiero, puedo sentarla de mi vuelo. La vara en tu nido, por hasta el luma del bailao. La vara en te quiero, puedo sentarla de mi vuelo. La vara en tu nido, por hasta el luma del bailao. La vara sento, stella vola sento, por hasta el luma del bailao. La vara sento, stella vola sento, stella vola sento, por hasta el luma del bailao. La vara en te quiero, puedo sentarla de mi vuelo. La vara en tu nido, por hasta el luma del bailao.
You've been so out his heart, blowing clouds of light. The fire in our hearts, burning through the night. No longer shall we stand as the planet's demise. United we'll rise, with hope in our eyes, with hope in our eyes. Revolution in the air, it's time to take a stand. For the future of our world, we'll fight hand in hand. Through the darkness and despair, a new dawn will arise. With our hearts on fire, we'll paint the sky.
burning flame. Oh yeah, we're the force that cannot be tamed. In this nation ruled by the iron fist we proclaim. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Through the noise and chaos, we find our way. A revolution brewing, a bright new day. In the streets we gather, voices raised high. Sociallust streaming a battle cry. Cuban soul, artists heart blowing clouds of life. Fire in our hearts, burning through the night. No longer shall we stand, as the planet's demise. United we'll rise with hope in our eyes. Revolution in the air, it's time to take a stand. For the future of our world, we'll fight hand in hand. Through the darkness and despair, a new dawn will arise. With our hearts on fire, we'll paint the skies.
In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. In the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of might, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light.
It is a jam. Before we start, let's play that one song that I like to start the streams with. It's my favorite. This one?
Oh, the greatest country in the world.
All of the countries I got my little girls. Cuba, number one exporters of sugar. All of the countries have inferior sugar.
Inferior sugar.
Famous and all, it's time in my capitalist all of the world. Cuba, Cuba, a very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Cuba, friend of all except America. They very nosy people
Fuck Guantanamo Bay, by the way.
with gold up their ass. Cuba, industry best in world. We invented coffee and the shaving knife. Cuba, Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Congress, mighty penis of our leader. From junction with the testes, the tip of his face. Cuba, Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Congress, mighty penis of a leader. From junction with the testes to tip of his face. Cuba, Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Congress, mighty penis of a leader. From junction with the testes to tip of his face.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the stream. And today we're gonna cover a few things. Maybe we'll go a little overtime. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff going on, man. It's been stressful. It's been very stressful. That's why I did not stream during the weekend. I'm trying to take care of my mental fucking health. Because shit is going crazy. Billionaires are out stealing all our fucking money. They're going to take our fucking taxes. They're going to take our fucking veteran health care. They're going to take our Medicaid. Our Bro, they're doing it. They're doing a bank robbery. It's insane, but it's happening. Fascist fucking billionaire orange cocksuckers. Oh my god. Anyways, let's start out with Hasan. Hasan and the Ethan Klein content nuke. Fuck off, Ethan, please.
If you want to have a conversation with me, I am available. I can talk to you about any number of different political disagreements that we have, except this time, I'm not going to be nice to you. I'm not going to treat you with kitty gloves. I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would to an actual political content creator who was expressing your viewpoint about Israel. I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would talk to them. So if you think that I'm afraid of you, I think you and I both know that that's not the case. And so before I keep watching, I need to know, are you a communist? No, of course not. I love capitalism. I am a liberal of the Democratic Party variety. Everybody knows I am a liberal who almost...
He's a neoliberal. He's a sock dem. No, he's just a neoliberal. Sock dems are probably a little better than that.
Exclusively defends the Democratic Party. I mean, if you didn't know that, you must be an absolute dumb, right? You know, you'd have to be a real moron, or maybe disingenuously lie and be like, I was groomed as a 40-year-old adult into believing that someone is actually a liberal when they they hit.
Yeah, Ethan Klein was like, he lied to me. He made me think that he was like a Democratic. I guess a vote no blue no matter who type dem, which is not a fucking progressive, and it's not a fucking a socialist or a communist.
Did that for me. They hid their true perspective for me. They groomed me into believing that they were a liberal.
Bro, he got groomed, dude. Ethan Klein got Epsteined by Hasan.
Bro, they'd have to be a real bird-brained moron, or maybe a disingenuous grifter. Maybe a disingenuous grifter who recognizes that the person that they were talking to never really sheltered their views whatsoever. Guys, I have a statue of Lenin behind me. Not right now, obviously. I'm in Japan. I used to think you were cool, consistent, and friendly. I looked past the house because I figured it makes sense. Then I found out you're a commie. Now I realize you're undeniably a baller, based, and live true to your word. You
literally, that's how I feel.
Also have good eyebrows. Thank you. Why is the Tim Pool
Dude, his eyebrows are on fleek. Them shits are sharp. You could get cut by his eyebrows.
On stream? I'm wearing this so that people will think that I am Tim Pool, and therefore apolitical, and therefore not radical, therefore not playing a formative role in what is actually ruining the United States of America and perhaps the entire planet, which is the rising tide of
By the way, guys, you guys can subscribe and help my little shitty channel out. And if you subscribe, you'll get a cool little notification like this. Check this out. Look at this. Maybe? Maybe not. What's going on? Oh, God. Well, usually a little thing will pop up if you subscribe. Why can't I? That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, my God. What's going on? How do I replay the sub? Why isn't the sub thing working? Alerts? Yeah, the alerts are there. Replay. Subscription. Clear all. Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm breaking it all. I'm breaking it all now. Well, it was a Nazi Morty. And it's like Rick. You know, it was Rick basically like, hey, man, take me over here. And then, like, Nazi's like, nah, man, I'm fascist Morty. I don't like your shit. I wish I could do it. Well, if you subscribe, you will see it. I used to be able to, like, see a whole fucking list. I broke it. Pause, unpause, skip alert, play. I used to be able to see the history of the alerts.
Fascist mobilization, but instead the much scarier thing, which is communism. Everybody knows that's a significantly...
Bro, communism's so scary. Communism rules the world right now, and that's why the world is burning and capitalism is everywhere, because communism. So we gotta worry about the communism, then the fascism. When we kill all the communists and throw them on the fucking gulag and Guantanamo Bay and all that, then we can go after the Nazis and the fascists and like the fucking racist pieces of shit. Then, but only after we get the communists first, and the socialists, and you know, then the cripples and the gays and the trans. After those people go into the camps, then we can get the fascists and the Nazis. Theology.
Scarier thing.
And the Zionists. I forgot to add that there.
So yeah, I want people to think I'm Tim Pool instead, which is the furthest you can be from communism, because that's significantly scarier than Donald Trump. I want everybody to understand, make no mistake, I'm a serious person who definitely understands things. Very smart, very intelligent. Definitely not a hack, failed, dumb comedian in air quotes.
Ew.
Still doing 2014 memes on the timeline. Well, I'm not on the timeline anymore. I'm actually too scared to be on the timeline, so I just fucking constantly whine about it from behind my Instagram stories, even though I'm a 50-year-old dude with like 3 children, and I spend most of my time online just crying most of it. Anyway, if I was one of those things, then obviously that would be really scary. You know, I'd be really scared of the rising tide of socialism and communism in the United States of America. Ooh, terror, big terror is what I would say. So that's why I'm looking like Tim Pool today, who surprisingly and completely unrelated to what I was saying. Oh my God, it's 5 a.m. out here, dude. I'm literally oblivious. I'm probably not even making sense right now. What did Tim Pool say recently? Oh, that's...
Yeah, Hasan is like in Japan. He flew to Japan, and it's like fucking dark as fuck. He just woke up, I guess. Or he hasn't even slept yet, actually. He hasn't slept yet, and he has to like deal with Ethan Klein's bullshit. And I think I watched the Japanese Communist Party. Did I stream that? I did watch it. Though. I don't know if I streamed it. Okay, here we go. Boom.
It's interesting. He said, come to the right side. Join the good side, Ethan, he said. Perhaps what I said was completely unrelated. Perhaps it was completely unrelated. Or perhaps if you're the type of person who thinks that like politics can only be consumed from the lens of slop tuber drama cultivated by people who have no political understanding, no political reading whatsoever, no interest, no ideological leanings whatsoever, and are just like dumb who are stupid enough to regurgitate Reddit posts that have no research backing them whatsoever, oftentimes coming from a sex pest's very own community, then you are a deeply and pathetically unserious.
Yeah, Ethan Klein's is like best friends with Destiny or something. Like he loves Destiny, and like he just takes fucking like quotes and shit and like Reddits from Destiny's Reddit that shit on Hasan and basically take everything out of context. This is so stupid, bro. This guy needs to like grow up and like just take care of his kids or something. Like I it's gonna be fucked up, but I'm glad Alfredo's not around to see all the shit going on. I think that's the dog that passed away, right? Like, Jesus Christ, bro. If you would have known you were a Zionist, genocidal piece of shit, that would have been even sadder if you knew that.
Person, and therefore you probably should go and I don't know, watch the sunset or something.
Yeah, go watch the sunset, bro. What's that movie? Hold on.
Tiredness and depressed in the content Chernobyl disaster. Yeah, well, good luck to them. It's 5 a.m. out here. Yeah, there was a movie back in the day where like there was like a retarded dude, you know, a special guy, and like he hurt or killed a woman, and Of Mice and Men, bro. Go look at a lake or something like Of Mice and Men. I personally think that everyone deserves human rights. Controversial opinion. I personally think everyone deserves dignity. Everyone deserves human rights. Everyone deserves health care. I know sometimes. Okay, listen. Sometimes.
This
no
system for your bike.
That is a very good product, mouse.
You really like a apartheid state. Sometimes you really feel some type of way about an apartheid state, and in defense of said apartheid state, you crash out extensively, so
Yup.
much so that you lose a significant percentage of your own audience because they're all like, what the are you saying, dude? There are children being year-long slow burn crash out. Spectacular. Ta-Nehisi Coates was one of the biggest confirmations for me that you are right. Yeah, I mean, but I have Ta-Nehisi Coates and Bernie Sanders, you know, AOC, and then but Ethan has Caffino. Just watch the video and take some accountability. Don't be a pirate software dude. Dude, it's an hour and 40-minute video. Okay, can I just say something?
Bro, it's a long ass video. That's like a waste of time. Like, why would you make? And it's not even like good fucking, like good investigative journalism on shit that Hasan has actually done bad, which he has done a few things like that are really stupid. Like when the Ukraine war started, he was like, "No, bro, they're not gonna invade, bro. Bro, it's just a military exercise." Like, that's it. Like, he hasn't done a lot, though. He tries his best. He does try his best to be on the right side of history.
This is genuinely, this might come across a little ableist, but you literally have an intellectual disability if you think that, like, I am fearful of watching an hour and 40-minute video made by a dude who literally thought Roe v. Wade was the gay one.
Roe versus Wade. Is that the gay one?
No, that's
Roe versus
Like
Wade.
when
Wade.
every single child or
one,
someone
dog.
with an actual
Like, stop talking about politics if you're just gonna say the gay one. Hey, what's that one, Bill? The gay one?
child brain, a person who literally was a Yang ganger, okay? Someone who was in support of Yang gang, who genuinely does not know anything about politics. Like, what am I supposed to do? Watch every crash out? You think like every single time some slop tuber makes a video, this is actually incredibly important points. The only thing you're demonstrating is your own stupidity. It's an hour and 40 minutes of a sex pests, cults, communities, compiled garbage that he took a week off to literally shave off the serial numbers off of, basically.
Damn, Ludwig. Yeah, that's like Ethan Klein used some fake ass like Destiny meme about Frogan winning the Rising Star Award, even though like they could have just gone on the real website itself and seen that it's fake news and it's not, that she didn't win. Like, he's stupid. He's stupid.
Just so that there wasn't that stink associated with
Yeah.
it, because unfortunately for him, his favorite content creator was outed as a
Fucking pedophile.
sex pest
Oh, not
for
a-
consensually and
not a
unconsensually recording
A
people
sex
while they're
pest.
having sex and then distributing it to a bunch of
The other guy, the Vosh guy, he's the cartoon child, goblin, thick short stacks. But yeah, Destiny's definitely the weirdo Cuban expat, fucking hateful ass neoliberal, shitty ass Gusano, like hateful ass piece of shit Zionist, sex pest, weirdo. Yeah.
of other 19-year-old Discord e-girl kittens that he wanted to fuck. And then all of those
Yup.
videos were leaked a month ago, including videos of him having sex with his ex-wife, who I know for a fact she has mentioned did not give him
That's
consent
sad,
to
bro.
release those videos to
These
random
poor women, man.
people. And the idea that this is a deflection is moronic, because I have mentioned every single stupid point brought up a million times over. But yeah. Anyway, have fun though. I assume that you guys are going to try and bait me into losing my shit all day. But yeah, there are already 100 responses to every accusation. I know. There's like, you could just go if you truly are invested in the truth. And I'm sure there are some people. There are others who are just going to come in here and be like, well, I'm going to keep it real, man. You're just like avoiding accountability. Yeah, dude, I am pro-Palestine. That's it. I'm pro-Palestine. Okay. If that's news to you, you are the dumbest baby on the planet. All right. I am pro-Palestine. I am anti-genocide. I am someone who is a leftist. Okay. I'm a leftist. I do not think capitalism is the final evolution of mankind. I think we can evolve beyond it. There are
Yeah, bro. Like, why is capitalism like the almighty ideology? Like, we haven't evolved like that much from fucking medieval like medieval peasantry, like feudalism. Like, we're not that far from feudalism and shit. Like market states and shit, trading gold around. little gold coins like Skyrim. We're not that far from that. Like, why is capitalism the end all be all, bro? I want something like Star Trek or maybe I don't know about Star Wars. Star Wars is a little more dystopian because it's like corporations and shit. And the I don't know. There's too much with Star Wars. There's like fucking like the CIS, the droid army. They're basically like China, but in Star Wars, they basically just have planets where they make robots and shit and stuff and sell them for cheap. And they were able to make like a big robot army, but cheap. You know, they're cheap robots, so they were dumb and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty funny.
Literally, Guantanamo Bay internment.
Yeah, motherfucker, there's Guantanamo Bay internment camps now, bro. 30,000 migrants. Like, that's crazy, dude. Guantanamo Bay is literally, like, meant to torture people. They send, like, wrongly convicted people there all the fucking time. And now that's going to ramp up with this. This is really scary. This is scary shit.
Prison facilities being set up right now. And if your number one thing is your favorite fucking 50-year-old content creator with 3 children and his endeavors for the past 6 months, you are a deeply unserious person. This motherfucker literally only talks about the genocide now when it's to say there's a genocide going on cynically. And his entire fucking baby-brained moronic fan base also reiterate that point over and over again while they think they're making a brilliant point because they misunderstood my initial assessment of the matter, which is that when I'm watching children get mutilated every goddamn day, I think it's a pathetically selfish way to approach that conversation from the personal feelings of a rich 100 millionaire sitting in his Bel Air mansion talking about his own goddamn feelings.
Yeah, Ethan Klein, go donate to a union. Go help a union fund. Go fucking like grab some picketing and signs and shit. Go do something, bro. Deliver food to people. Go give clothing to the homeless. That's what Hasan has done. Do more than like what you do than just bitch all day with your shitty ass show, bro. I hope your clothing line like collapses to the ground. I hope all your shit like just, bro. I hope AB and Lena are able to get better jobs. And then I hope, honestly, everyone else can just fuck off. Because, like, I haven't really seen many people stand up. I haven't. That's, like, bro, you guys have an oppressive-ass boss. I know that's hard to, like, stand up to, but, dude, can you guys attend? No, you can't even do that now, bro, because Trump's president. I was going to say, attempt to unionize. But how would that, I don't know if that would even work over there.
That's it. You can call it crash out all day, every day. I'm a goddamn adult. I'm 33 years old. I'm not gonna, cover every moron and their own personal feelings and how hurt they've been.
There's like too much shit going on to be covering stupid content nukes. It's a mini nuke. That's why I called it mini nuke, because like it's just dumb. It just has stupid like quotes cut out of context from Hasan. I know he says a lot of shit. He streams a lot. He streams like 20 hours a day. So imagine all the dumb shit you say. I've said a lot of dumb shit. You guys can probably go back to through my other streams and find a lot of dumb shit. But I try my best.
It's taken a year, okay, for me to actually be open about, for me to finally get to this point. I still wish Ethan well, okay? I do. But God, how selfish, how delusional, how stupid to just like think that anyone outside of your marginal fucking cult that you have whittled away over and over again is going to look at the situation and go, yeah, you know what, dude, you are actually right. You've totally convinced me that baby murder, unlimited baby murder is all right now, actually. That like people who call that sort of behavior out are all seemingly radical Islamist extremist terrorists who I will assume are being funded by Qatar or Iran or Saudi Arabia or whatever other Arab nation, because I don't have any understanding of geopolitics anyway. And they're all the same to me. Go spend time with your kids, man. Holy shit. You look crazy. You look like you're literally losing your mind.
Dude, he does look crazy. Check this out, guys. I had this image of Ethan Klein from a recent stream, I think. Where is that shit at? Guys, look at this fucking look at this maniac. Look at this maniac. Does that look like a normal human? A normal sane in the head human being? Like, what the fuck? What's going on? That's scary, dude. That's a scary face. Holding up Anne Frank and shit. Like, what? Leave her alone. Leave Anne Frank alone, bro.
mind, and virtually everyone can see it. Do you not have any friends? Listen to your producers. I'm sure they have pulled you aside on the background and been like, hey, Ethan, can you stop doing this? It's very uncomfortable every time the camera pans to them. There's a reason for it, because everyone around you thinks you're crazy.
Oh.
Last Leader unit confirmed signature 07.
God, it took this long for me to finally be like, dude, please, you're never gonna get better
I'm
unless
not
you
crazy.
take accountability. Jesus Christ, go to
I'm not crazy.
therapy or something. That must have felt cathartic. I mean, it doesn't feel cathartic at all, because
Here, let's give Ethan Klein. Let's play Ethan Klein a really nice song. I think Ethan Klein would like this song a lot. Let's bring up Ethan Klein's beautiful picture. All right, beautiful picture, Ethan Klein, and it's a good old friend. His name is Pink Guy. Yes, it's Pink Guy. I did this with Asmongold last time.
I wake up in the mornings thinking halfway to the bottom. There's a loud distorted screaming in my soul. Everything is dark and empty and I don't know how to fix it. So I curl up in a ball and cry in the comfort of my home. I don't know why I feel like shit. They say I'm fine, but I'm not fine. I'm dying inside, and all I see are demons. I try to hide all my deepest feelings. I'm dying inside, and all I see are demons. I try to hide all my deepest feelings. I think there's something wrong with me, 'cause all I see is death. Every time I go outside, I look like I've been doing meth. And I sleep for 19 hours on a Thursday afternoon. Every now and then I cough up blood and I don't know what to do. I don't know why I feel like shit. I will not see a therapist.
Go see a therapist. Go see a therapist, Ethan. Please, buddy. Seek help. We want you to get better.
then as the classic like cry bully behavior gets reiterated over and over again, they will go, see, he cares about this. He cares about this so much. And it's like, it doesn't bother me, man. It doesn't. You're not new to this game. It's just deeply embarrassing and everyone can see it. Okay. You went from writing a Keemstar drama nuke to being hyped up by Keemstar. Like how
literally, dude, he's being hyped up by Keemstar and like some of the other worst people in the entire world. Like, it's crazy.
Stupid and malleable are you as a goddamn adult that you can be manipulated by other slop tubers? It's kind of shocking. Brother, you keep agreeing with chatters who say you're giving drama clippers a reaction and saying you're right and then continuing to cover it. Yeah, I know. Because I'm a human, man. I'm a human being, okay? I'm a human being. There's only so much I can take. What are we doing here? This guy literally had a disagreement with me over Israel, ended the podcast. I was so gracious to him. Far more gracious than he God deserves. Literally ends the podcast because he can't cut it. Like, he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about politics anymore because people are hurting my feelings when I talk about Israel, and because it kind of comes across like I'm defending Israel. And then everybody goes, oh, you're defending Israel. It's like his whole shtick for the past year has been saying liberal Zionist talking points and then getting mad at everyone when they go, are you a Zionist? And he's like, whoa, this is anti-Semitism. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. What kind of moronic attitude is this? Just don't talk about politics. Just go back to talking about like gooning or Justin Baldoni or whatever new thing is happening online. You're clearly not intellectually equipped enough, and you got deluded by a sex cult. Like Destiny was able to brainwash you over the course of a year. I'm sorry. You got a child's brain. Go enjoy childish things. the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you have to like literally do politics? Your fan base hates it. You're clearly all the people.
Yeah, bro. Go look at prolapses or something. Go look at prolapsed anuses for a living.
Your vicinity hate it, and you're still like, nah, I'm the #1 guy. I'm the #1 politics guy. Okay, dude. There's plenty of dumb. Go ahead, have a right wing. You know, do your little right wing tilt, I guess, and then maybe you can find admiration again. But it's probably not going to happen in the liberal sphere that you're trying to carve out for yourself. I'm sorry, liberals, and I disagree with a lot of liberals. Okay. But many liberals are still infinitely more intelligent than the fucking average dumbass right-winger. They get manipulated by right-wingers a lot, which is why I get very mad. But it's much harder for you to cultivate a fan base with your unfortunate lack of knowledge over politics in that sphere, okay? Just become a right-winger then.
Drink that coffee, boy. Drink that coffee.
You know, look at Tim Pool. He's got a massive audience. I've been so nice, dude. And you know what the most annoying part is? For a year, I was like, oh man, I don't want to like hear about this stuff. I'm sure Ethan means well, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was in my ear constantly yelling and being like, no, he did this, he did that. And I was like, who cares? He's just like, you know, he's just doing whatever. He's just doing whatever. He's just doing whatever. And everyone was like, no, dude, listen, he made fun of Aaron Bushnell, you know, killing himself. Like, you don't understand. He's like doing all this propaganda, whatever. And in that entire time frame, I was like so charitable. And I was just like, hey, I've heard the things that he said one time in 2021 about how he's like pro-Palestinian, like that's important, whatever. And he did this to himself. Like, that's what's so crazy about this narcissism. Like, these dumb will be like, Hasan, you don't have any accountability for what? You want me to say I'm sorry for being like pro-terrorism or whatever kind of Islamophobic nonsense that you've cultivated over the course of the past 15 months from a sex cults community? God, oh, we have a bingo card for Hasan's reactions. Like, I saw that too. And it's like, you just have no interest in anything real, okay? You have no interest in anything real. You will fall victim to the whims of right-wing politics, okay? If Ethan fully flipped the script and became like a right-winger, then you would also do that because you are a stupid person. Anyway.
It's 9:15. How am I already underwater?
I'm in the same boat.
I'm in an actual boat.
I thought Grammarly just fixed grammar. They make
I hope.
Yeah, if y'all still watch H3 and it's not just to like check out what he's doing because it's always stupid, or like criticize him, or to tell him please go back to a normal good show, or like to tell him, yo, Palestine is still a genocide. Like, if you don't watch him for any of those other reasons that I said, like, what are you doing? Stop watching H3, bro.
And I mean this with genuine sincerity. In all sincerity, I hope.
He literally bought a button because he says wild shit all the time, and now he's complaining about all the shit the wild shit that Hasan said in those videos, the clip chimp shit.
This was like, I hope he got it out of his system, you know? I hope he got it out of his system. And instead of like clip chimping everything that I'm saying right now and then posting it on his stupid, silly little drama show, if Ethan wants to talk to me, he can talk to me, okay? He doesn't have to constantly cry as a 50-year-old adult with 3 children from behind an Instagram story. You can talk to me in person, big dog. You got my phone number. We can have a conversation on your stream. We can have a conversation on my stream. Last time, I had the baby gloves on, and you cried like a bitch after doing Teddy Fresh ads in the midst of our genocide coverage.
Oh my God.
That's right. And I'm not talking about the
That's crazy, bro. I think I remember that. I think I've seen that.
Leftovers episode where he actually cried. That was a beautiful moment. And I was actually very wrong for thinking that actually meant something. It turned out it didn't mean shit for you at all. Because selfishly, you spent the next year constantly ripping into, suspiciously, a lot of, not myself, but other
Muslim
people
streamers.
of color. I'm not calling myself a person of color. I know it's going to get clipped out of context here as well. And then you're going to be like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah, he literally went after Frogan, Capri, and a bunch of other fucking people because they did a fucking Sabra hummus or whatever the fuck. Yeah, which is like a shitty hummus brand in Israel, you know? It's an American one. It's not even Israeli. It's American. Coca-Cola owns it. My mom bought some of that. It was all right. You know? But, like, I'm sure there's way better than that. Like, if you make it yourself, dude.
Whatever. No, just noticing that you have just been going after a lot of people of color, Arabs,
My mom buys a lot of shit that's like supposed to be boycotted. Like she gets Coca-Cola. She got you know what I mean? It's like, Ma, I gotta give her a fucking list. Don't buy this shit. Don't
Muslims
buy
in
this
general just constantly talking about how scary they are. You know, why are they so scary? I don't know, because maybe.
Yes, I am a 24-year-old, 25-year-old that lives in this house, this mom's house. I don't live in the basement though, which is that's you know, that's pretty good.
You're an Islamophobic moron who retweets or basically tweets out Ben Shapiro quotes about Hamas. Maybe that's the reason why people think you're super pro-Israel, okay? Maybe that's why. No accountability, okay? No accountability whatsoever. Constantly pointing the finger at other people. It can't be me. It can't be the broad reception of my worldview. It cannot be the way that people understand where I'm coming from, okay? The way people have heard the same talking points over and over again from people who are genuinely deeply pro-Israel. Maybe that was the reason why people were saying that. No, it must be because of anti-Semitism. And it's like, it's not as though anti-Semitism isn't increasing. It is, okay? And it's something that I understand. It's something that many of these people that Ethan has falsely smeared as anti-Semitic understand. So especially at a time when there's motherfuckers like Nick Fuentes, Jake Shields, or numerous other like actually anti-Semitic monsters out there who are running rampant, hyper-focusing on people who are anti-Zionist and expressly and openly not anti-Semitic is certainly a choice. Yeah, I'll debate you anytime, anywhere. All right, Ethan? The assumption that I'm afraid of you is so idiotic, okay? Tell your God, be honest with your fan base, okay? I'll talk to you anytime, any place. I'm done. I'm done with this nonsense. Like, these morons literally think I'm afraid of a dude who does not know anything about politics and basically just rehashed Willie Mac show and Destiny clips, dude. Like, these guys just literally go to Reddit. That's it. And they just repeat Reddit talking points.
That's sad.
Over and over and over again. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Yeah, I saw Roman also popped off. Because, dude, if you are even remotely interested in politics, you're going to look at this and go, what the fuck are you saying? Incredible video to drop in the current political climate. Fascist takeover happening in the U.S. and tons of other places. And he drops a 2-hour video on the biggest threat to America is Hasan and communism. Lol. LMFAO even. I fully expect Ethan Klein to become an anti-woke grifter within the next 5 years.
Damn.
So H3H3's video on Hasan is dead ass just Red Scare and McCarthyism. I actually haven't even seen anything more pathetic in my life. Bro's trying to pander the last remnants of his right-wing fan base by going after lefty boogeyman well, and he's doing it also that people forget his controversial Israel takes. Incredible. Israel takes. Incredible. That's what's so crazy, by the way, which is that like there are a million different ways to try and hit me on like drama related. Why the would you try to do politics, man? You're so stupid. How narcissistic of you. How unimaginably narcissistic of you to think that you can like write this brilliant, political work. Like, stick to your lane, dude. What is wrong with you? You look like a clown to adults, okay? Maybe not the cultish fans that have stayed behind, you know?
Have you heard about Ryoko Pro? This is the cutting-edge portable Wi-Fi hotspot that people wish they found out about.
People are messaging me saying, Roman, how can you side with Hasan when, he has had terrible Ukraine takes? And I actually agree. I don't watch Hasan for his Ukraine
about this, like, these guys, and this is what's so frustrating to me about, like...
Ethan Klein just talks about prolapsed anuses.
Ethan, I can't believe, is a part of this group now. But there are a lot of people online, like, what is his name? Like, Turkey Tom or something. Like, that's one of those guys. Like, all these dudes that have been, actually leaving Destiny's orbit now after suckling on his teat for maybe the past 3 years. Willie Mac show, all these slop tubers, right? Just names that I never wanted to learn. They have no interest in politics whatsoever. And to them, it's just another way to extend the algorithmic boost that they can get. That's what's so annoying about it. That's what's so goddamn annoying about this process is just like for them, it's just all drama. It's all drama. Ukraine, drama. Palestine, drama. What is this? I think it great views overall. I'm not even going to dignify it. You can say it's because I'm scared. If you are literally the dumbest person in the United States of America, perhaps the entire planet, then yes, you can think that. I am stating it very clearly. Ethan Klein, if you want to have a conversation with me, I am available. I can talk to you about any number of different political disagreements that we have, except this time, I'm not going to be nice to you. I'm not going to treat you with kitty gloves. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a special boy who deserves my special attention and that you're so funny and so special. I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would to an actual political content creator. If there is a political commentator out there who was expressing your viewpoint about Israel, I'm going to talk to you in the same exact way that I would talk to them. So if you think that I'm afraid of you, I think you and I both know that that's not the case. I think you and I both know that there's a reason why, despite the fact that you and I have very similar enemies, some of which you've turned into your friends, even after they got, unfortunately they got outed as sex pests. But I think you and I both know that I didn't run away from Twitter. I don't have to constantly go to.
Wow. That's crazy. There's so many things that are anti-Semitic to Ethan Klein.
Was anti-Semitic. Everything is anti-Semitic. Anyway.
Celebrity drama or whatever. Like, f off, please. What it all comes down to is that I just don't believe that Ethan Klein, cares about any of these issues.
Yes, that's what's so fucking annoying about it. He doesn't. He does not. That is what's so unimaginably annoying about this entire process. He doesn't give a single shred of a about any of these issues. And it is literally ego. It's not even like a significant political disagreement, by the way. It's more so ego. That's what's so frustrating. And that's what really makes me mad about all of the people that hyper focus on this. It's just ego. It is a man who feels scorned. It is a man who bravely took the step online and became a more progressive person. That is the journey here. A person who had some reactionary takes, a person who openly said the N-word a million times over and numerous other slurs, saying, you know what, this is the old me, this is not the real me, okay? I am going to become a better person. That is a person I will always admire, okay? It doesn't matter if his name is Ethan Klein, doesn't matter who that person is. I will always admire someone who has the dignity and the courage to openly say, I was wrong for doing this stuff. This is not who I am. Just understand, iDubbbz being a great example of this, right? But yeah, after you cultivated a fairly progressive online fan base, you turned around and you had some opinions that you demonstrated that were directly at odds with said progressive
genocide is all right
fan base. And instead of going, hey man, maybe I should really reconsider my output here. I wonder why a lot of these people are saying this in the most narcissistic ways possible. You just looked to blame others instead of saying, hey, maybe my output here is the reason why people are reacting to what I'm saying in the way that they're reacting to it. You were like, nah, it must be something different. You said you hid your power level to infiltrate his fan base and turn them against him. Guys clearly lost the plot. Yeah, that's such an insane take, man. No, dog. You actually made your fan base very progressive. And it's basically this. The entire quote unquote content nuke is this.
You're also kind of borderline teetering on what would most people say is socialism.
Wait, what? Let me tell you something about myself then. Yeah.
You don't give a shit. He is a socialist.
Don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't think that the capitalist organization of the economy is adequate. We don't need to have that conversation. But yes,
no. There's no way you believe in that. Hey,
socialism is not a poverty cult. You don't have to be poor to be socialist, even though you can still advocate for those who are less fortunate than you.
The question that is on everyone's minds is like, there's two things here. There's two outcomes of this. Either you are the dumbest person on the planet and just like, whenever I described my political worldview, it just like went in from one ear and out the other. No bus stop in there, okay? No pit stops in there whatsoever. It was just like information coming in and out, okay? Nothing in there. An empty hallway, all right? And you're like, I thought you were like a, kind of progressive, vote blue no matter who type Democrat. What is going on? And if that's the case, then
not if it's a fucking genocidal maniac Democrat. And not if the Democrat that precedes the genocidal maniac Democrat doesn't say, no, I don't like the genocide you're doing, sir, Mr. Biden. And she lost because she didn't say shit.
no business doing political commentary. Because what the fuck are you saying? Like, what do you mean? Then you're just like ill-equipped to have this conversation. You've openly demonstrated that.
I consider myself a liberal, but in the American political lexicon, I guess like I'm super liberal. That's what Americans think liberalism is. Like the more left you are, the more liberal you are. Even though there is a genuine distinction between the leftist and a liberal, but yeah, I'm progressive. I guess that's the catch-all term.
I like progressive. Yeah, who wouldn't want to be progressive? It's in the name. We're progressing.
Unless unless the country they like does a genocide and then they gotta support it.
Yeah, well, that's why like early stage classical liberals who like wanted to rebrand, like Dave Rubin, for example, who now are very openly on the right and like everyone knows it. They originally tried to say like they're the real progressives, and that the people who brand themselves as progressives, people like myself, they were actually regressive.
George Soros and Google. He wears jackets that say "Bash Fascist."
Woo!
I'm sorry, I gotta stop again.
Bash fascism, bro.
What is wrong with
that's lit? What's wrong with that?
hating fascists? I just don't understand that point. I mean, aren't we supposed to hate fascists?
Has a club in his hand.
We're supposed to hate fascists as Americans.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. And then they'll say like Antifa is the real
This is not in his content nuke, chatters. This is just our first ever on-camera conversation. The reason why I suspect someone spliced these two things together is because they wanted to show how fraudulent and how idiotic this is for Ethan to be like, I was duped. I was groomed into believing radical politics by this big scary man, when even before we had a podcast together, I never sheltered him from my true opinion. I even say it there. I'm like, I wouldn't consider myself a liberal, but in American politics, because people's false understanding of liberalism,
the Overton window and all that. Yeah.
They would say I'm a super liberal. So what's really interesting about this entire process, despite the fact that I have a literal like Lenin bust behind me, a Che Guevara bust, and a USSR Ushanka behind me, and also prominently display other famous leftist political figures, revolutionary political figures, and also Bernie Sanders, who is himself a socialist, and go through the minutia and the process of explaining to him over and over again what my political worldview looks like. He just, I guess, either A, forgot what that conversation looked like and how that took place, or B, a second thing, and is cynically trying to present it as though I was secretly hiding the truth. Okay, I was secretly hiding the truth.
Real fascists. Okay, then still bashing the fascists in that circumstance is still good. No, like I don't get it.
I thought fascism was like the antithesis of everything America stood for.
Exactly, we hate it.
Yeah,
but apparently it's supposed to be. Okay, I'll try not to pause, but there's just stuff.
Kirk, they tasted the blood of 1.5 million Christian Armenians, and they'll taste man flesh again. What the fuck? If they have their way.
I think he said he thought you were a dem sock like him. First of all, he's not a democratic socialist. Ethan is barely a social democrat. Okay, what are you talking about? There's a distinction between democratic socialism and social democracy. Social democracy is pro-capitalist. I often will openly state that in a place like the United States of America, it is a reactionary shithole where there's no class consciousness whatsoever, that social democrats are seen as radicals in this country, okay? And they're still in line with improving the material conditions of the working class in the United States of America. You told Ethan multiple times that you wish you hid being a socialist. That's the other problem. That's the other issue. I've told him before, but that's not my problem. I'm sorry, man. If you don't understand the difference between a democratic socialist and a social democrat, how the fuck is that my fault, dude? I've explained it before. Like, what are we doing here? Dude, I'm sorry. In the year 2025, we're not doing that. In the year 2025, we're not gonna let other people's—
In the year of our Lord 2025, we are not gonna let other people's knowledge drag down the entire movement.
Misunderstandings become everybody else's problem, because that's ridiculous. Why so scared? Do I look scared? What are you talking about? You won't watch the video? Brother, instead of demanding I watch the video, demand Ethan talk to me in person, okay? Because if you think I'm fearful of Ethan Klein and his political prowess, I'm here to tell you I'm not, okay? Go tell Ethan to have a conversation with me, okay? Just watch the video. Just watch the video. Why can't he have a conversation with me? Why? Is it perhaps easier to clip things that I'm saying out of context in my reaction? Is that why? So that he can shelter his audience? Is that the reason why? Or is it because he's actually afraid? Because
Ethan's the one that's scared, bro.
I think it's the second thing. Just like he was too scared to talk to Sam Cedar in
Talk to Sam Cedar, yo. Debate Sam Cedar. Ethan Klein, you bitch.
private. To go into a debate about something, you should first watch the content, right? Or do you go into blind every debate? I go in blind. You want to know why? That's how confident I am in my worldview and in my knowledge in this space. Also, I'm not going in blind. Let's be real. It's the exact same things I've addressed a million times over. It's not new nor unique. Having said that, however, this is a very interesting thing. This is a very interesting thing that I've seen from people where they go, oh, dude, why don't you watch the video? Okay, why wouldn't you want me to just like debate the issues if the issues are related to me? You think I don't know the subject matter very well? I'm the subject matter. What is happening? Yeah, he can just argue the points in the video if he wants to directly to my face, and we can have a conversation about that as well. A list of lies made by Ethan Klein. Ethan claims communism is on the rise. From Elon Nazi saluting at Trump's inauguration to the AfD in Germany, communism is clearly not on the rise. Hasan never introduced himself as a social democrat. Hasan talked about education programs, not re-education camps. Hasan never runs full defense of China, especially regarding their treatment of the Uyghurs. Ethan shares an edited clip that cuts out where Hasan explains that he cannot control his chat from calling Ethan a racist for saying racist things. Yeah, that's another one of these fucking annoying little parts about this back and forth and this drama, which is that like the conversation I had with Ethan ended with me saying, Ethan, there's only so much I can do to control the narrative in your favor if you keep saying things that people are going to interpret as you being pro-Israel. And it's not because you're Jewish. And even though, to be fair, I'm sure there are plenty of people who are like, oh, he's Jewish, and they suspect you of being pro-Israel and are deeply anti-Semitic, right? Having said that, there are plenty of people in your fan base who aren't anti-Semitic who also absolutely made up their own minds after listening to the way you talk about Gaza. He cuts out continuously, there's only so much I can do, and leaves out that if you continue to say things like this, people are going to think you believe them and get mad at you. Yeah. Shows a random clip of someone being anti-Semitic, claims Hasan does not care about Israelis because of his lack of reaction. Hasan never justifies sexual violence. He routinely says that sexual violence likely occurred during October 7th and regularly cites the UN investigation that had one credible documented instance of sexual violence. He says that the sexual violence that may have happened on October 7th is not a justification for genocide. Hasan never said that Israel should let Hamas enter Israel unrestrained. Dude, it's, for the record, easiest like 500,000 view video of your life. If you just like look at all of the clips that Ethan used and go on Twitch, go to the VOD and extend the clip by like 30 seconds and just be like, this is the full context. Here he is responding to a chatter. Actually, this is not his opinion. This is clearly something that he's responding to that he's reading in chat. Okay. Or this video was clipped to make it seem like, Hasan is advocating for this position when it's actually the exact opposite position he's advocating for. The only part about this that's like frustrating though, is that there are well-intentioned people that are duped in this process. There are well-intentioned people that will get duped in this process. People who are just like kind-hearted liberals who are probably open-minded to the way I see the world, and if given the opportunity would recognize that the things that I advocate for, they also agree to. But they'll see this video and go, oh, this guy's a dangerous like terrorist lover who loves terrorism. He wants to do terrorism.
There is not a single dissenting voice with his straight up radical, anti-American, anti-Semitic.
Oh, you want some of this?
Radical!
Okay. Hold on.
Pro-China, pro-Russia, pro-terrorism takes. This is fringe, psychotic that is not normal.
That's so cute.
And it is the only acceptable voice on Twitch.
So cute, dude.
Explain that to me. How is there not one dissenting voice on that entire platform?
Look at this fucking terrorist Hasan, dude. Look at this terrorist lover, terrorist sympathizing Hasan over here. What a cutie.
Yeah, the funniest part about this is that like, even though this is obviously awfully sourced slop, which basically rehashes the same fake drama that Redditors have mostly clipped out of context. Very dedicated Reddit community comprised of a sex pestiny cult leader who has his own personal bone to pick with.
Sex pestiny, bro. That's good.
With me, okay? Just watch the video instead of people reacting to it. I am not going to watch the video. I will, however, talk to Ethan directly if he wants my attention that bad. I know that you want me to watch the video. I know that he really...
You can watch it there live at his studio. At the H3 studio, they can watch it live together.
Wants me to watch the video, but
And
I'll
talk
just
about
debate
it.
him. If he wants to have this conversation, we can have it. Oh, and he said nobody knows where these guys are. Oh, yeah, they recently released the crew of the seized cargo ship Galaxy Leader after the ceasefire was implemented. So the idea that nobody knows where these guys are is also silly. Once again, this is just such bad, like, it's slop. This is what slop is, okay? When you don't actually do your due diligence.
Literally.
And you literally just, like, stamp all
Just content slop.
of this nonsense that you found on subreddits that are obviously geared in a very specific direction, and you just don't even Google something. Like, this isn't meticulous research, dude. Like, what are we?
Literally, he just content slop. He's a fucking loser. All right, bye-bye, Ethan Klein, forever. Let's move on. AOC, crazy shit's happening, guys. It's very long. Let's do, before AOC, let's do, Francesca Fiorentini and Emma Vigland.
Hey, hello,
Hi.
Francesca.
Hello, Emma. Thanks so much for being on.
Of course. Thanks for letting me reschedule. I feel like after COVID, I'm just getting more sick more easily. I mean, I only had it twice, I think, but I don't know. I'm like, my immune system is worse, or
Just kinda
maybe I'm just
shot.
getting old.
Yeah, man. I feel you. I mean, like, I have a 2-year-old, so like we're getting everything. Just like a vector. But I'm glad. I was afraid you were gonna get sick today because I feel like every time you've been scheduled, you've gotten sick.
Well, it's just because
And
I don't
it's
really like talking to you. I think
You're
that's-
like, I'm sick. Wait, okay, not even naming names, but I'm gonna name his name because I kind of want to shame him to come on. But Michael Moore has definitely given me the worst excuse twice
Aw.
for why he couldn't come on. And like, you can only have so many deaths in the family. I love you, Mike, but you can, like, I want your family to be okay.
Well,
Yeah.
called out. The gauntlet is thrown down.
How declarative. But Emma, we start every show with what you are bitching about. There's so many things that we're not going to get to today, or just things in your life. I don't know. What are you bitching about?
What I am bitching about is the fact that I think our press currently and many Democrats are not asking basic questions about this mass deportation that the Trump administration is kicking off. You know, we talked about this a bit on the show today, but the numbers are that there have been around 8,000 arrests by ICE, and Trump has given them a quota of like 1,200 a day is what they're supposed to be meeting. It's been 2 weeks since 2 weeks and change since Trump got inaugurated, and the only evidence that we have so far about these folks being criminals, as the administration is claiming, are some social media posts on the ICE Twitter account that just like list a half or a few dozen of the arrests and these people's criminal records. That's a pretty big gap, a few dozen and 8,000. The reality is that they are trying to classify even crossing the border without documentation
terrorism.
as an act of criminality,
Or criminality,
which
yeah.
in their mind means that their rights are going to be able to be removed and they can be sent to a concentration camp on Guantanamo Bay.
Yep.
So they raise the threshold of, oh, if you have a criminal record and you're in a gang, maybe, okay, now you're a terrorist and we're going
Yep.
to put you in Guantanamo Bay, basically. And if you cross here illegally, which is the equivalent of a civic violation, like, I don't know, jaywalking or getting a parking ticket, well, you're a criminal now too. So probably you don't deserve habeas corpus rights or anything kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
Or if
we'll
you were a suspect of shoplifting, you don't have to have a
Right.
charge, but maybe someone thought you maybe stole something.
Yeah.
You under the Lake and Riley Act, you could get detained.
Yeah, exactly right. And like these are just common sense questions that the press in particular, and really, I mean, the Democrats need to lead in this way. The Republicans are phenomenal at repeating the exact same thing with their message discipline and getting the press to respond to it and basically treat it like a thing. I mean, DEI is a prime example of this right now. It's just immensely upsetting to me that there are thousands of people whose lives are being torn apart. We covered on the show the other day this 18-year-old girl who's still in 11th grade, whose family crossed without documentation, but they were going through the process of applying for asylum. She got into a fight with her brother, who's 12, over a cell phone, and their neighbor called the cops. And she was detained as an 18-year-old by ICE at a facility in Maine, even though the local Massachusetts DA said, don't charge this person. She was detained for days. But we don't hear more from them. Why? Because everybody that is subjected to this is terrified. So it's this class of people that are under a shroud of secrecy, and the Trump administration is trying to use that to demonize them. And just today, he's talking about using the act that was used for Japanese internment to justify taking them to Gitmo and potentially other camps, likely along the Texas border as well.
The stuff that's happening now is so scary, guys. It's really getting into like Nazi shit, guys. It's that Nazi shit already. But like the country is like literally slowly turning into like fucking some Nazi shit, dude. It's fucking crazy. They're literally going after immigrants, like especially like if you're brown, black, Latino, you know what I mean? Like Chinese, everybody, dude. That's fucking crazy. They're trying to scare us. But there's more of us than there are of them. Remember that.
This is insane, and we're getting minimal pushback, and I find the lack of clarity and the lack of, I don't know, desire to seek said clarity by the press to be very scary.
Yeah, and the lack of humanizing the people who might be caught up. And it's because they're all just rubberneckers. They love it. They love to rubberneck the like, oh my God, the authoritarianism. Can he do that? Wow. It's, it's like Doge, I think, Adam Johnson, who was on the program last week, had just wrote something about how Doge has been normalized by the press. Oh yeah, it's super normal to have like two private citizens unelected create an entirely new, body of the government. Like, it is on the press, and it's part and parcel of why we've demonized immigrants to this point, is because we're not actually listening to them. That's a good thing to bitch about. We have so much, and our newest segment, I'm going to treat you to this and get through this as quickly as possible. This is bad.
Hey.
Chaplin mustache?
Yeah, oh yeah. Just Chaplin. This week in Orange Man Bad, the Trump administration is apparently devising an executive order to dissolve the Department of Education, which honestly is real stolen Betsy DeVos valor. I feel like pour one out for Betsy. She wanted to do it first. He is also prepping, as Emma mentioned, detention camps in Guantanamo Bay to house an unprecedented 30,000 migrants. A little bit more on that later. Trump is also erasing HIPAA from HHS websites. So no more privacy between you and your doctor. Again, this is all to go after mostly women. He's also randomly tweeting about land theft in South Africa and certain classes of people being mistreated. I think he's going to come out as Afrikaans very, very soon, TBD. Chris Wright, another cabinet nominee, has been confirmed as Energy Secretary by the Senate, including 7 Democrats. Trump also ordered the release of California in order to provide water to Southern California. Only that's not how dams or water work. And now those dams are just flooding an area just to the north of LA with water. But like, I just don't want to see any more like Congress created the Dust Bowl signs on the I-5. Okay, guys, you know who you are, Central Valley MAGA. I know you. President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, has offered to take alleged criminals, read undocumented people from the U.S., and put them in Salvadoran prisons for a fee, which means we will be housing people fleeing narco violence with the alleged purveyors of narco violence. What could go wrong? Federal grants for science research using the words like bias, diversify, females, and political have been scrubbed and rescinded. Also, the T and other letters from LGBTQ on government websites have been dropped. I'm like, Just call it L. What are you going to do? Government websites like the CDC, Census, and FDA have been mass deleted. And Joe Kent has been nominated as Director of National Counterterrorism. He is a friend of Nick Fuentes, has paid a Proud Boy for consulting.
What?
And has been endorsed by the Oath Keepers.
Oh my God.
Also, finally, Trump just said just now, look, the Gaza thing hasn't worked. It's never worked. And I feel differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land. We'll get some people to put up the money and make it nice. But they have no alternative but to leave. That is Orange Man bad. You think that's a Kushnerism?
No, I think that
here comes the genocide. He's gonna do it, dude. He's gonna do it. He's gonna fulfill Israel's destiny.
Kushner wants the Gaza for luxury condos. I mean, he said as much during his talk. I guess it was at Harvard in March of last year.
Just can you imagine, like, even if you were so craven and disgusting and bloodthirsty and like pro-ethnic cleansing, like living in a condo just on top of mass graves, like on top of where people were genocided?
You know, I couldn't imagine doing it, but the Israeli public has no problem living.
Guys, if you guys want to support this little channel, subscribe, like, and comment. And check this out. If you guys want to subscribe, you can do this maybe, or shit, that's not what I wanted to do. How do you I would like to replay this. That's not what I want. Stream elements. We can keep playing this.
Let's talk. Let's give you all a few minutes to join, see what's up. Hello, everyone. Just giving it a second for folks to join.
Queen.
Let's talk about.
Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. I bow. This woman needs to be ranked up in the Democratic Party. What the hell? They chose some dude with like esophageal cancer over her. Are you fucking serious? These fucking the Democrats are trying to lose. Like, they know they want to collapse this country. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. Not all Democrats. There's a few fighters in there, but damn, man.
About what's going on. We are going to discuss what is happening right now.
Oh, my bad. Wait. We're not there yet.
Next door to a mass extermination camp, essentially, because Gaza's borders are controlled by Israel, land and sea, and there's no way out. And they've destroyed over 90% of the structures, and most estimates say they've killed well over like 130,000 people, and that's being generous.
Yep.
They're okay with that, and they seem to say it's justified because, you know, the babies, we have to kill the babies because the Arabs are so barbaric that they use the babies as human shields.
Of course,
because they're okay with babies getting killed. We have to kill the babies.
Wait, let me just put on my liberal Zionist hat and be like, actually, the United States was built on a massive, like, indigenous genocidal grave, so...
Yeah.
That's bad, though. That's not okay. Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it could keep happening.
Not live streamed. Not live streamed for everyone to see.
Let us have our own, you know, condos on our genocidal graves, so thank you. All right, let's get into it, guys. A lot of stuff to get to. This is the week where... This is the week where it's really Elon's coup, right, Emma? There has been this injunction on federal spending federal spending freeze, and that got extended by a judge, I think, just yesterday or today. It's unclear how long that's going to hold for. But meanwhile, if you have access to, let's say, I don't know, the Treasury and the form for how Social Security, Medicare, federal salaries are distributed, you might not need it to be legal at all if you can already do that. And so over the weekend, that seems like exactly what happened when Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave Doge representatives, who we're going to talk about in a second, access
Why?
the
Why
purse
would you
strings
do
of the entire
that?
nation, of the treasury.
Why are these motherfuckers doing that? Don't allow these billionaires to do that shit.
And before we get into like who the hell is running it, I think it's important to listen to why. Like, what is the goal for this? In case we didn't know, AOC had a very long live yesterday, and I just clipped this up because it is about a wealth transfer from all of us to Elon and the oligarchs.
They're gonna steal our money, y'all. They're stealing our money.
Those tax cuts had a sunset period, and that sunset period occurs in 2025. The cost of these tax cuts are to the tune of about $4 trillion. And in order to extend them, you need to find $4 trillion. Well, where do you look? The biggest one that they are going after is Medicaid, okay? They have Medicaid in their sights, and they want to cut $2 trillion. What are they not going to include in their government waste assessments? Take a big guess. Defense spending.
Okay, so she's kind of spelling it out. It's like this is about trying to find places to cut. Remember, Doge has been obsessed with this $4 trillion number. So they want to cut Medicaid, again, healthcare assistance for poor, the disabled, new moms, infants, people who have way too much already. And I didn't know, Emma, that they like needed to justify extending the tax breaks. Like I didn't know that they were like desperately being like, okay, we want to extend these tax breaks for the ultra wealthy that Trump passed in his first term. So now we have to like make up the difference. I thought they could just do it and add to the deficit and be like, whatevs.
Well, I think that the immiseration of the rest of the population is like the cherry on top, because it's more, I would say, a way to cover their ass for their completely false, like, stated desire that they care about cutting into the deficit. I mean, the Trump administration exploded the deficit, and you know how you can reduce the deficit? Taxing the rich. You raise more revenue through taxing the rich and closing loopholes and targeting the speculation that this administration is engaged in. And so,
and defense, as AOC mentioned.
What'd you say?
Defense, as AOC mentioned.
Right. I mean, of course they're not going to cut defense. Elon Musk, it was just reported the other day, I didn't know this, but he's been working with Boeing on creating their new fighter jets. I mean, he already, with his Starlink and his defense, he's a top defense contractor. Yep. So the stuff about Trump being anti-war is laughable. I mean, invading the Greenland and taking the Panama Canal, it's all absurd. But they're looking for a pre-justification to call it efficiency, and they're trying to use the model that the entire tech sector has now adopted after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, which is mass layoffs, and making things. And can I curse on here?
Yes.
It's the enshittification of the government, in the same way that that's been the description of
the enshittification of the government. Literally, guys, they're cutting everything. They're trying to drain every government program, and they're gonna give all that money to the rich. It's a giant tax cut to the rich.
Like late stage tech, where they've bumped up against, essentially, this isn't true for the government, but this is what these anarcho-capitalists think. They basically are like, it's too bloated. It's too much. We got to cut costs. And where do they do it? Not on their backs. That's the whole game. They want to use this as an opportunity to enrich themselves. And I think Musk has a messiah complex, to put it mildly, and he wants to be the world's first trillionaire. But clearly he has, I would say, adjacent neo-Nazi views. The natalism was a cue, and now we're in full-blown doing Sig Heil's.
Sig Heil was just sort of, speaking of
and
cherries on top.
Within the same week, going and speaking to the far-right nationalist German party that engages in Holocaust denial, even though that's illegal in the country.
I love how he did that just to be like, in case it wasn't clear that that was a sig heil, like in case you thought I was just throwing my heart, which he, by the way, never made an excuse that way. He just said, oh, they're freaking out, you know, about nothing. And it's like, but he didn't actually say, I was simply throwing my heart. Everyone else said somehow this phrase we're supposed to know. So yeah, no. Yes, he is a Nazi.
Well, you say that, right? And it reminded me because we read this. I posted this on Instagram, and if people want to check it out, I just think it's a Sartre quote from like the time of the fascists, or not the time of the fascists, but Hitler's time. Never believe that anti-Semites are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous, open to challenge, but they are amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly, since he believes in words. The anti-Semites have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse, for, by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit the seriousness of their interlocutors. They delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they will abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating by some phrase that the time for argument is past. And that quote, decades old, is as applicable to this as anything. And so, I guess, like, really to get back to your first question about the tax cuts, it's the access to the treasury that Musk has, it's insane. Like, he has no right to this data more than you or I or Johnny or Jill or whatever, or your next door neighbor. He is just getting access to it because he's the richest man on the planet. And there's been a lawsuit filed because it's a privacy violation. Social Security.
I want to go exactly what. So it's run by civil servants. This is from the Times. The Treasury Department carries out payments submitted to agencies across the government, dispersing more than $5 trillion in fiscal year 2023. It's been historically closely held because it includes sensitive personal information about the millions of Americans who receive Social Security checks, tax refunds, and other payments from the federal government. In other words, all of us, literally all of us. Like,
it's you know, and he's obsessed with payments. Like, remember how he apparently back in the day he tried to transition PayPal
into X
from this system, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's used by a bunch of other like big tech firms and big online outfits, to a Microsoft system that the rest of the PayPal people were like, this is not secure, this is not going to work. And that was when he was ousted from PayPal, but he had all that money, and then he was bought into Tesla, and he pretends like he's created the Teslas, but whatever. The point is just that he also, that was one thing he wanted to do. And then the other thing was he wanted to make PayPal into X. That was his thing, X.com. He has this fixation on it. And he's got one part of that right now, which is X.com. And I think the end goal is to make it into some sort of payment system. And so what would be as useful as humanly possible to creating like some sort of online exchange, having access to everybody's financial information and social security numbers,
and like privatizing the payment system, which the other thing that he claims that he did on Twitter is, because I'm not calling it X, or try not to, is something, is like he nixed the direct file with the IRS as tax season is really upon us right now. There was a program where you didn't have to pay for TurboTax or for, you know, an accountant or anyone or tax provider to organizer to, you know, help you, which costs so much money. You could directly file with the IRS, which is how it should be. And
exactly. It should be the only show in town. TurboTax should not be legal, but they have a ton of lobbyists. And you know what? Why it works too? Because even lobbying wouldn't get you what they get. It's because fundamentally the Republicans want the relationship between us and the government to be as difficult as possible. And so when people have to file their taxes, the government already knows how much money you owe, by the way. It's already in their database. So they could do it for you. But why do they choose not to do that? The Biden administration, that was a good thing, that direct file thing, but it should be the only way to file your taxes. Truly.
Absolutely.
Why do I use TurboTax. Why do I have to pay like $110 every freaking tax season just to do something that I need to do legally? It makes no sense. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I pay like $2 million in taxes because I got like so much cash.
Well, once again, we are incredibly wealthy.
Right.
But the best part of the Treasury seizure / scariest part, briefly, is that there are 6 children. There are 6 young men between the ages of 19 and 24, according to Wired, that did this reporting. And according to their public databases, their online presences, and other records, who have little to no government experience and are now playing critical roles in DOGE, or Department of Government Efficiency, tasked by executive order with, quote, modernizing federal technology and software to maximize government efficiency and productivity. The engineers all hold nebulous job titles within DOGE, and at least one appears to be working as a volunteer. Here's a picture of a few, like 4 of them.
Oh my god, look at these fucking dorks. These dorks are ruling us right now with Elon Musk's help. These fucking losers, dude. These people need to be fucking wedgied. Stuffed in lockers a little more. I'm sorry.
Akash Boba, Luke Ferreter, Ethan Chautrin, Edward Korstein, Gautier, Cole Killian, and Gavin Kligger. And they are, some of them are former, one guy is a former Neuralink guy. They're listed
How can they be former anything? They're 19 to 27.
Right, exactly. They're listed, and basically they have like top security clearances. They work out of the agency's top floor, have access to all physical spaces and IT systems, according to a source with knowledge of the GSA's clearance protocols. The source who spoke to Wired on the condition of anonymity because they fear retaliation says they worried that the new teams could bypass regular security clearance protocols to access the agency's sensitive compartmented information facility. Yes, of course they are. And so perhaps this is what you were saying. This is part of that, like, well, we're just going to reorganize how everyone gets paid. And if you happen to be gay, maybe you get a little less, or maybe you get fired.
Basically. Yeah, I mean, those guys would need to get carded at any bar they walk into, and apparently they're now just like government employees because
these are the kids who've been like ruining San Francisco, where I used to live, and the city I love, and I'm just like,
well, what are you saying, that Neuralink was not a success that should be replicated?
No, I definitely think that, you know, yeah, I mean, no. Don't get me started on Neuralink, because I will not shut up. I can, like, I will start crying and then I'll go on a 20-minute rant, so it's fine. But it's just insane. And then the other thing, obviously, that's happening this week is USAID. So Musk had been tweeting, and now I guess making good on hollowing out or ending USAID. He's tweeting, USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die. Another tweet, government corruption we've seen, government corruption we haven't seen, and it's the iceberg above and below ground. Yes, corruption, you know, like weapons contractors, private citizens running our government right now.
Like the top richest man on the planet running our government, you know, corruption.
Yes.
I got a little rant about corruption whenever you're done, but
no. Well, basically, they Sunday morning, the administration removed 2 top security officials from USAID. They tried to stop reps from DOGE from entering. So again, these little twinks. Marco Rubio, I don't know about that, but Marco Rubio has now said that he was going to be the head of the State Department, but then he's like, okay, no, I'm going to pass it on to a different official, actually a State Department official named Pete Morocco, to head it up. Yesterday, Democrats tried to get access to USAID. They were denied, and then they protested outside of it. Now, I do want to talk about corruption, but I want to just say, like, USAID provides really essential services to people around the globe. And I want to play a clip from Ilhan Omar to explain it. But I also want to say that coming from a progressive leftist, non-interventionist standpoint, USAID has also supported really shady, you know, like anti-government initiatives that they say are democracy initiatives, but really are things, you know, to like topple the government of Venezuela or undermine the Cuban government, and just any government that they don't like.
Prime example of NGOs funded by USAID interfering in their government.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's good, there's bad. But here's why USAID is important. I thought Ilhan Omar made a good point here.
I am exceptionally upset about USAID. I lived in a refugee camp for 4 years as a child surviving civil war. It is the essential programs that USAID provided that kept my family and I fed and safe. It is the resources that so many people around the world rely on. And it is our soft power. Oftentimes, people interact with our country through the military. That does not create love for us, and it certainly does not keep us safe. When the world interacts with Americans through programs that provide essential need, they get to see the heart and compassion of the American people.
Okay, so that was Ilhan Omar. And Emma, the thing that I really think we need to talk more about, and Democrats never talk about this, is like actual soft power, like what it means to be a leader in the world in health and, education, or, providing, whatever sanitation for countries around the world. There's a reason that Russia, with their Sputnik vaccine, when the US was denying vaccine access and patent access to the world under COVID, Russia gave out its Sputnik vaccine. Now, I heard from people in Latin America who were like, yeah, that shit don't work. They were like, it's kind of broken. But it was like in a gesture, an overture to say, we're trying. I mean, whatever, like we want to help, we want to be a superpower that isn't just known for its military might. And, it's Ilhan Omar also like says that in those moments in the refugee camp and knowing that she was alive, thanks to USAID, it like softened her. It made her look kindly on the United States, that she believed in the United States, and that she wanted to, obviously get involved as an organizer and then, run for office and on and on and on. So I feel like that is not discussed nearly enough.
I think that's a great point, and I think that that's what right-wing isolationism really looks like, right? Which is not cutting into militarism, but cutting into our methods of soft power, which have been dwindling since really the Second World War. Like, the big picture part of this is that after the Allies were successful in defeating Hitler, the Nazis, the U.S. and other the U.S. was really involved in rebuilding Germany. Now, it had its issues, right? Like, I think it kept we had Operation Paperclip in the United States, and like, I think it kept a lot of horrible people and institutions in power, and like Germany's financial power is still like in the shadow of that, right? But that was a use of soft power, right? After we had just fought the Nazis, okay, we're going to rebuild Germany a little bit. And then flash forward to decades later, we basically had decided after our economy was as good as anything in the 70s that now it's time to hollow things out. And like, perhaps we're past the dirty manufacturing being here onshore. Why don't we ship it off to other countries? And why don't we cut taxes for the wealthy? And as that happened, as like our economy and we began to manufacture things physically less in the United States, what got built up? And by the way, Silicon Valley is a child of this. The military industrial complex. California, that was a massive industry out there. And now our military is double the size of all of the rest of the world combined. So the incentive is always to use hard power. And then the Republicans come in and they claim it's corruption to have these soft power elements. And that's the other thing about corruption, and it's not really a rant, it's just I want people to think critically about when people say corruption. I used to say corruption was the biggest problem with our government, and now I say capitalism, or with our society, really. And it's because corruption was used to imprison Lula in Brazil, for example. Corruption
Yeah.
and establishment, these are terms that are extremely nebulous. And
So totally.
not connected to a material like vision for the world. And so the establishment for me means like the military industrial. I mean, it can mean anything in different contexts. There's an establishment in New York State's government and an establishment in the federal government. Like, what are we talking about here? And then with corruption, sometimes it's very straightforward. Like Elon Musk, that's corruption. But then you have him calling everything else corruption. And
exactly.
So without having a vision of leftism, of decommodifying the essentials of life, of taxing the wealthy, of changing the structure of our economy, you can't make those claims because they just get co-opted by the
It's like saying anything. It's like saying racial divisions without actually understanding power.
Yeah.
It's basic understanding of power. Saying corruption without understanding power is pointless. Saying establishment without talking about power is pointless. So I totally agree with you. And before we leave, let's just name that USAID has more than 10,000 people on staff and make up 1% of the federal budget. So this is a drop in the bucket. And that's not to say it couldn't be better, but I would never attack USAID from the right. I would never say like, yeah, actually, I think it's good. That's bullshit. That's a losing strategy. Let's go on though, because speaking of strategy, well, okay, before we actually go on, I do want to mention, Emma, the Democrats' role in this, because we are in a week, and I really think the top line is, how in the hell are Democrats still confirming Trump nominees? I just mentioned in Orange Man Bad, Chris Wright as Energy Secretary, Scott Bessent, who turned around and handed Elon Musk access to the Treasury. 15 Democrats voted for him, including Cory Booker and, of course, John Fetterman, but Ruben Gallego, Kirsten Gillibrand, Alyssa Slotkin. These are the people who are like, well, maybe if what's the play here? Maybe if we confirm some of their seemingly less crazy,
I fucking hate John Fetterman, bro. Fuck John Fetterman. What a fucking Pennsylvanian loser. Pennsylvanian loser, dude.
Nominations that then will be fine afterwards. It's just like, it's insane. So, I mean, I've been urging people to call on these senators and be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Well, it looks like, I mean, this isn't the Democrats, but it looks like it looks like everyone's getting through. Everyone. Even if I could have picked one, just to say, I don't know about you. If you
who would you say no to?
If I had to, like a wish, RFK Jr. is the 100. One that scares me.
Oh yeah, and you're not even a mom. Like as a parent, I'm like, this is fucking terrifying for children right now. Like, absolutely, RFK Jr. is out. But here's Jerry Connolly again. What is it?
This is the guy who beat AOC on oversight
on the oversight committee, and here's him outside of.
This is the guy with esophageal cancer that Nancy Pelosi made some phone calls from her like hospital bed because she fell and like broke her hip, and she got this dude elected.
The USAID, and he's really gonna stick it to Elon Musk. These are the Democrats in all of their resistance power.
And Elon, if you want to run AID, get nominated by Trump and go to the Senate, and good luck in getting confirmed.
Yes.
Whoops.
What?
What's so funny about that is they're just confirming anyway. And it's not to say if all of them voted no, right, they wouldn't still be able to get him across the finish line given the breakdown. But like there are many ways to gum up the works. You can obviously just do, not show up, on and on and on. But so this is, I mean,
this motherfucker's giving them ideas, bro. That's crazy.
I'm gonna really to use the Argentina phrase, que se vayan todos, which was in 2001 during their economic crisis and collapse. They were like,
que se vayan todos.
Everybody needs to go. Que se vayan todos. They all need to go. They went through 8 presidents in 2 weeks or 9 presidents in 2 weeks. I can't remember what the rundown was. And that's the feeling I have. Like, you fucking, all of y'all suck. Like, you all need to go.
Yeah, I mean, the party, if our institutions weren't so, I feel like, ossified. Like I would be like, oh, it's going by the way of the Whig Party. I mean, see you later. It's a coalition of everybody who isn't a Republican. That's the problem. Is the Republicans have it's an uneven playing field because they more aggressively serve capital. They can have messaging that's more uniform for that reason. But and then you have in the Democratic Party, like everybody from Josh Gottheimer to AOC. So it's harder to come to a consensus on that front. But I do think that there's a part of like the party that just thinks that the country needs to just go through this and then they'll be able to like come out on top. And
isn't that Schumer's line? Like just like his line was like, Trump's gonna mess up, and you're like, you mean mess us up? Like look at what's happening, mess up. They're not messing up according to their plans.
But that from Schumer is the exact reason why this right now I think the governors in this country are doing a way better job of resisting Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reason why a lot of the hopefuls for if, there was some blitz primary in 2024 that it would have been one of those folks.
Right.
But Whitmer, Walz, and then JB Pritzker are messaging this and fighting back in public in a way that is just so refreshing because you see the institution of the Senate. It's just they are so disconnected. I mean, it's put in stark relief. And in 2020, part of the reason that Biden rose to the top, and frankly, was like, did we have one governor run? I mean, it was Biden, Bernie, Warren, Mayor of South Bend, Gillibrand, Booker, like everybody from the Senate and their mother decided to get into the race. They don't know how to govern. They are just institutionalists. At least these governors that come from the outside, they are in the executive position in their state, and they're like, I'm going to wield power. I mean, Walz was why I was excited about the VP pick. But you can see that like the Washington insider class, and I do feel like that Kamala Harris was hemmed into, and she didn't have enough talent to really be like say no to this kind of thing or good instincts. But her instinct was to pick Walz, which was a good one. And then everything was like consultant class takeover.
Yeah.
It's that.
Then rein him in.
Yeah, it's that, and it's the senators in the Senate institution in our DC corporate consultant class that has continuously steered the Democrats down a path of like, maybe if we just drop the woke stuff and keep everything, we'll be okay. That's the lesson that they're learning, and that's why
maybe if we just move to the even farther to the right on immigration.
Totally.
Maybe if we just never talk about trans people, they don't exist.
Economic populism, when I hear that come out of Chris Murphy's mouth, the damn senator from Connecticut who is getting a divorce, and you can tell he has real divorce guy energy. I have no faith that when he talks about economic populism, that it means what AOC means or what we mean. Yeah. I'm concerned that they're confusing. It's this popularism, Matt Iglesias thing that the Biden administration embraced. Just go with what's popular. Do what's popular. You have control. I'm got mad again. You have control over public opinion. You have agency. You have the ability to change the conversation as the Republicans did. And now you're caving it to him and saying, we just got to go with it. We got to do what's popular.
Which it's not even popular.
That's such bullshit. Yeah.
But also it's morally wrong. I've always felt this. It's like, again, these are throughout history, desegregation, not popular. Like all of these, issues that have never been popular.
MLK had a 33% approval rating right before he was assassinated. I guess we shouldn't have fought for civil rights or his vision or his war on poverty or his anti-Vietnam War activism, because it was unpopular. They're conflating popularism with populism, and I don't like the term populism for the fact that it is also nebulous as well. Sure. But still, the Democrats, that's what they're doing. And popularism is a stupid ideology. It's very dumb and acts like we're like the politicians are just passive in changing the national conversation.
Yeah, and I also think it's not always true in every issue. In fact, in most issues. And
Right.
you happen to host a show called The Majority Report for a reason. You know, the majority of Americans believe in things like universal health care. The majority of Americans believe in, you know, free education. Like the majority of Americans, you know, are on our side, on the progressive side. And it's because we have these Democrats in the effing way. I did want to ask you about, you know, for example, the DNC chair, Ken Martin.
Yeah.
I'm seeing sort of differing reports. You know, obviously it's not Ben Wickler, but Ken Martin, what is the? He was.
We also take money from good billionaires.
He's from Minnesota, but what is he? What is
The
he in
Democratic,
Minnesota?
I can never get the acronym right or the full name right. It's the DMFL, Democratic something Farm Labor, and I forget the full acronym, but they're just like they're basic. I think my understanding is that in Minnesota they're like a big part of the Democratic Party.
He's the chairperson, yeah, the Farmer Labor Party, exactly. So he won, and you know, he had this line during some of the debates that was like, I believe in working with good billionaires. And then when he was finally won, he was like, we need to tackle the billionaires. And so I saw Sunrise Movement, who protested very heartily and amazingly during that, you know, entire debate and discussion for the DNC chair. They were taking that as a win. But I guess I'm curious, you know, how you feel about the chair. Does it matter? Is this
way
good?
more than that.
Well, I was rooting for Wickler. I know Fashikur entered late. I didn't really understand that decision. I mean, I think he got like 2 votes.
That's
but
Bernie's former, like,
yeah,
you know, campaign.
Yeah,
leader, whatever.
I mean, it was always a 2-man race, and then at the end of the day, I was like worried that there would be vote splitting, and that's why Ken Martin would win. And then if you added up every other vote plus Wickler, Martin would have won. So it doesn't really matter. He's an improvement over Jamie Harrison, but who wouldn't be? I would also say he's an improvement over Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Right, we've forgotten how far we've gone, like how low we've gone.
Like Martin was not my first choice, but he is better than both of those folks. And like Jamie Harrison's #1 role was, I don't know, retweeting Mueller, she wrote, and getting into fights with Bernie supporters on social media, and changing the primary schedule to basically say like, no, there's going to be no primary for this very elderly president who's clearly losing his grip and funding a genocide. No, we're going to go against like the state law in New Hampshire and just unilaterally say, hey, South Carolina's first, because that's the state that Biden won in 2020, and that's when everybody got behind him.
Yep.
And it's more conservative.
And it was so bad faith too, because it's like they couched it as being a more diverse state and a more black state, which like I'm for, like if that's the reason. I don't think there's any reason
Bernie
why
won
New Hampshire...
Nevada. Is that Nevada's diverse too, but they just don't count that because it doesn't align with their interests.
Right. But it's just like, you know, Biden had so many of those bad faith identity politics moments where you're just like, this is such a bastardization of what you pretend to care about, you know? So yeah, that was gross. Not that I'm like, look, I like New Hampshire well enough, but I definitely don't think it should go first. I don't think it's representative of the nation.
Agreed. But like Iowa, but it's in their state laws, so it created it. I mean, remember there was that whole write-in campaign for Biden in New Hampshire, and
that's right.
And that was because
nobody talks about them unless we're talking about primaries. I get it.
It created an insane like, yeah, right, exactly. So, but my point is just that at least Ken Martin operates on the state level and like didn't lose to the Lindsey Graham by 10 points like Jamie Harrison did.
That's right.
I mean, he's basically a corporate lobbyist. Martin and Wickler are both at least organizers and lawmakers within their
from Minnesota,
states.
right? Which mean with like walls, which means a lot given how much they have been able to accomplish for, you know, the people there and on the progressive agenda. And everyone's like looking at Minnesota like, fuck. I've been very jealous lately.
I'm so jealous of them too. Yeah, except it can't be around that much cold all the time. So unfortunately, and I like the ocean, but Minnesota does seem like a great place to move. And then probably if there's some climate change, not bad.
That's right. Hey, ooh. Emma, we have to talk about this before I let you go, because I will talk about tariffs in a bit, but I know you've got limited time. And I want to just say, like, you were always scheduled to be on this program before this happened. But it was very serendipitous that it went down like this. Because this last week, I decided to make some content. And, you know, one of my viewers reminded me that Cenk Uygur on my show when we debated, said that I was crazy for saying that, there would be camps created to house undocumented
Concentration
people.
camps.
And then, of course, the Guantanamo news is announced. So I made this little slice. You want to have a beer with people who want to put people in mass deportation camps. They want to deport.
You think we're going to get put in camps? You sound all right.
Get fucked, Cenk, you stupid piece of shit. I hope you get deported to Guantanamo Bay first.
Now, if you're listening, those are headlines about said Guantanamo pivot. And this then obviously was not received well. But of course, look, we do things on the internet. I'm sure there are people, Emma, who are mad at you and are like, see, because you felt confident that Kamala Harris would win.
Mm-hmm.
We make predictions, we say things, and because this is what we do, we often get proven it wrong, and we need to be able to take that kind of criticism. And in my opinion, especially about something so consequential, like the treatment of 30,000 people who have literally done nothing wrong other than live in this country without papers. So that's why I made that.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, you're trying to make a living on the internet, and we have to use social media, and I don't.
And once again, I am a multimillionaire, so I just want to, name that. Richies. And that obviously didn't sit well. Cenk actually kind of took it on the chin. He just said it was out of context. It was not out of context. Everyone can go back and look. He said that I was talking about Chinese Americans. I actually never mentioned Chinese Americans until after. I didn't even say Americans. I just mentioned Chinese people because undocumented Chinese people are a target of this administration.
Mm-hmm.
The point is this. I want to separate from here on off. Let's detach the Cenk cart. Let's just bye-bye. And let's talk about Anna. Anna Kasparian, again, a co-host at TYT, got very mad and said that I am attacking Cenk and sort of, stood up for the we over there last week.
Francesco Fiorentini is currently attacking you about this as if Donald Trump is unique. He's novel compared to past presidents, certainly a special kind of evil that we've never seen before. In her mind, these are the gulags that she was warning about. But
also never said gulags, but a special kind of evil, never said that.
In fact, this has been a long-standing practice. You can be against that practice, but Donald Trump isn't doing anything new here.
Yeah, so I'm going to address it. I think that the clip that Francesco's using is misleading and totally out of context, but that's okay. But I know that...
No, it's not okay. No, it's not okay. That dishonesty is not okay.
Get me.
Yeah,
But
continue. Go ahead.
I hear you. I hear you. I don't mean to
But
excuse
she's
that.
getting the likes that she wants, right? Otherwise, I mean, who would pay attention to anything she's doing?
Let's
She's
go.
not on TYT.
Let's go, girl. Let's go,
But
Regina.
anyway, continue, Cenk.
Nobody would ever pay attention to anything I'm doing. This is true. I will, however, say I did hit 100,000 on YouTube before I even invited Cenk on. I've had a very robust career before and after my time at TYT, which I actually enjoyed from time to time. I did. I was at AJ Plus. I worked at MSNBC, had a special there. I worked for National Geographic Channel. I did things for Coachella live stream. Don't kill me. It was a whole thing. It was fun. And now I'm working also with Zateo. So, this is fun though, Emma. And so now, I wasn't going to say nothing.
Can we pause there for just a sec, really briefly,
Sure.
so I can just address what you said? So so first of all, I appreciate your being very fair. Getting an election prediction wrong to me is different than protecting marginalized people from an incoming president who has basically a far right agenda. I would say that's a little bit different. But yeah, I was wrong and people clowned on me. I take it on the chin. We're
Yes,
in
you do.
political discourse and debate space, and as long as it's not, I would say, bad faith. I mean, you get that from the right, but if I get it from the left, you got to take it on the chin. It's what I've signed up for, and I only really responded to Anna because I saw that video, and you're my friend. She used to be my friend, and if she had been putting out continuously content that I think is making the world better, I would defend her if the roles were reversed, and you were saying that about her. But that time has passed. And when she said no one would pay attention to you if you weren't talking TYT, that got me really angry because a lot of us are really, I consider myself extremely lucky that I lucked into an internship with TYT, and I was able to work up at the company again for little pay, as I've talked about, and I know you've experienced, a lot of other people have as well. I was able to live at home during that period and save up and live at my mom's house, who she's now bringing into this debate for no reason. because of private conversations that we've had. But I just feel like you are so talented, and Michael Brooks passed away, and there was a spot open, horrifically, a spot open for me at the Majority Report. I was lucky.
Sure.
I could be in a different industry if that didn't happen. You have had sometimes bad luck, like with AJ Plus and stuff. I mean, it's
No,
just,
I really didn't actually. I just am allergic to money, Emma. Don't worry about it. I left
I'm
AJ
just trying
Plus.
to say
AJ
is
Plus
you're so
offered
deserving,
me.
and it's
AJ
just,
Plus offered me in 2018 when they were moving to DC a very handsome salary that I turned down because I had been there for, at that point, 4 years, and I wanted to move on, and I wanted to move to LA. So that's what happened to me. And I'd moved to LA not for TYT. I moved to LA to actually like pitch more shows, do more comedy, meet more people, get managers and agents and whatnot. And I did. So that is, I've had a lot of luck, and I've also turned a lot of shit down. So I just want to name that. But I really, here's what I love about this. Here's what I love about this. I have tried for so many months, Emma, to not put these people's names in my mouth, to not talk about them, to hold my tongue, to refrain from talking about it. And as someone who also watches the Majority Report, I actually know you and Sam have taken also great lengths, but that the broader left audiences on platforms like YouTube and elsewhere are distraught. They are upset. They see the coverage of crime and homelessness and blaming fires on, some unhoused guy that totally turned out to be false, and the Aurora, Colorado, gang takeover, and the DEI when talking about the FAA and the crash recently, on and on and on to the cozying up to Trump. And they are upset and they are livid. And so what I decided to do was to talk to Cenk. And to be full disclosure, Anna also agreed to talk to me. However, she had a family emergency. And I said, dude, you take care of that. Do not come on my show. I wish you the best. Good luck with that. And that week she went on Glenn Beck's show. So anyway, be that as it may, I don't think I'm going to be getting her back on the show. But the reason, I just want to thank you because you cut strays for me, speaking of making it super personal. But I just want to say, Emma, none of this is personal with TYT. None of it is. It's like, it truly, for me, I think Anna and I have been like friendly, took a hike a couple times, but none of it was personal. It's always about the politics for me. And it gotten to the place, which honestly, I really do still welcome her to actually hear her out. But because I want to know, why are we covering things like this? Why are we talking about things like this? Why are we focusing on these small granules that miss the forest for the trees? Is it because ultimately you've never been a progressive? Is it because ultimately you are kind of a centrist, that you might be left on certain issues like corruption or, capitalism and whatnot? Although, Cenk, TBD on union rights. But that ultimately, when it comes to things like unhoused people, crime, you believe the right-wing narrative. When it comes to undocumented people, you believe that you should plaster the face of an undocumented, mentally ill man who was falsely accused of starting a fire, the Kenneth fire, which was not the Palisades fire or the Eaton fire, in the middle of this wildfire. You believe in plastering that person's face on your Chiron, and when he has not been charged, and blame homeless people like crazy ass Mel Gibson. That is a political disagreement.
Right.
This is not personal, and it sure as shit is not about clicks, because let me say, the amount that I could say and choose not to, when both she and, let's bring the cart back in, and Cenk are on a little bit of a warpath against every single person they used to work with, that we know, that we love, that we like.
Yeah.
David Dole, for example.
Yeah.
Mike Figueredo, like all these other people, to say nothing of former employees. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to chew on there. I will even say we tried to avoid it, and we clip out the fact that it was clips when we had an IM or a call in. But at the end of the day, as I was saying, they're adults. We're in the political debate and discourse space, and you've got to be able to take the heat and have the better argument. And based on their view counts, it doesn't seem like people think that they have the better argument anymore. So they choose to go after people on Twitter for engagement. And as you say, I, of course, could use information that I know from my personal relationship with Anna and friendship, where we would have many calls and conversations. I could have chosen to use that stuff against her. I chose not to. She doesn't seem to have those scruples, but she distorted things about my life, the fact that my parents were lawyers and I grew up with some privilege, to make a claim that I don't have to work for a living.
And we kind of like love you harder for that. And I think,
well, yeah, and like the way my sister's a lawyer, the way she lives very different than the way I live now. Well, she just started. Congrats to her, but it's like, you know, I'm really proud of her, right? And I could have gone down that road too, and but I chose not to, and I, you know, don't make as much money because of it. And my parents, they did well. They don't have the means to support me for the rest of my life. Like the amount of money that she describes there is, it's just a lie. And I think she's probably somewhere we had where I said I could have gone to law school and made a lot of money and not had to work for the rest of my life. That's something I would say.
Right.
But I don't even want to get into it because she discredited herself by claiming falsely right below that in this Twitter storm she was having well into the late hours of Saturday night, even on her time, that the Majority Report did paid ads for the Harris campaign, which is like frankly defamatory. I mean, it's if you want to go down that road, that never happened or ever having had close to, you know, it was never close to happening, and we would never do that, and people would probably notice if we did ads. So I was making a joke that like we did it in code, but it just is. It's bizarre to use, and I knew it was a matter of time because of how desperate and unhappy she seems that she was going to use our private conversations for her own ends. But again, I hate making it about myself. I don't talk about my family life. I try not to. I don't mention my fiance's name publicly. I try not to say my friends' names publicly.
Matt
I
Lieb.
take my privacy extremely seriously. And she knew that, but she still chose to put me on blast anyway because it feeds into an existing right-wing meme about who I am. But I got to stop talking about myself because it's really about them. Sorry, Francesca.
No. I mean, you didn't need to do all that, but it's fine that you did because again, it was you were personally attacked by her. I'm not going to throw up the tweet, but to continue a little bit and to close, I think the other thing that's very revelatory for me and has been very upsetting, and the reason why I asked her to come on the show is because Cenk came on the show. And even though he had been making the rounds on right-wing outlets, Patrick Bet-David, and going, on to the TPUSA conference and wanting to have a beer with Charlie Kirk, he did come on my show. He did go on Mark Lamont's Hill shows. He went on Brian Tyler Cohen's show. He actually faced some supposed, some leftists, some progressives. And instead, we have smatterings of where Anna's been over the last 6 months to a year.
Look at all these right-wing ass shows, dude. She's a fucking right-winger. Straight up.
To longer. She's been making the rounds on right-wing news with, obviously, these are obviously thumbnails. So I'm not saying this is exactly what she said, but she does make the argument that the left is the biggest problem and that they are the ones who've made her leave the left. What I got wrong with Glenn Beck, how the left is alienating its own people with Chris Williamson, who's sort of, again, standard YouTube, mass account. Why I left the left with some, what did that health influencer Jillian lady? Obviously, got to go on Piers Morgan. Dems made a deal with the devil. Anna Kasparian slams her old party. Anna on why she's calling out the lack of self-reflection by the Dem side of the left. With Megyn Kelly, I don't have a problem with calling out the lack of self-reflection from the left. I don't have a problem with talking about purity politics. I don't have a problem with talking even about some of the issues that, again, she thinks are, intractable. Like, again, crime stats being up when they're actually not. Homelessness. It's like, well, what do we do? All these Dems are just getting their hands in the pile of homelessness services. And that's why, I am for homelessness services, but these Democrats, that's why I'm voting for Rick Caruso. I'm telling you, it's okay to have these conversations, but where you are having them shows a lot about not just your ideology, but your willingness to sell your former colleagues down the river and the broader movement as a whole because they're using you. They're using you. And are you cool with being used like that?
Well, I think
yes.
It's obvious. I think that clearly, she's not on the announcement that she made. And so I don't understand why she has to keep pretending if she isn't doing what Dave Rubin, what other Why I Left the Left people have done in the past, which is essentially elevating your profile and going on these right-wing shows while validating all of their talking points and saying that you're representative of the left when you're not. Piers Morgan does this all the time on his show where he says he's a liberal and then he says
I'm basically a liberal.
Right. It's a very, very lucrative way to operate in media. It's short. the shelf life is not great, and you may cash in. Like Dave Rubin has made millions, but his views don't do that well because he had to eventually admit he was a conservative and not the last liberal. So she's going down that path, it seems.
They were like, ew,
that person was leading the unionization effort.
Right.
I'm hearing about these closed door meetings that they have where there are lawyers that are kind of intimidating folks. And that was around the time when I'd heard about this that I made the decision to leave the show, because it seemed to me that like there were some overstretched finances and also a lack of like real belief in a left-wing project. And I said, you know, I learned really to trust my gut in that way. But I do just want to say one thing about that as well, is like, Anna also implied in that tweet that because that we would be the reason that they would have to lay off employees, and that's why they took that poly-market sponsorship, because other people have been critical of them. I'm just like truly in awe of the inability to self-reflect or take a step back from one's own ego to say that it's everyone else around them that's the problem. Everybody else is just trying to make money off of them. Everybody else is grifting. It's not us. We don't have to look internally about our own decisions and life choices and our own like extreme anger that's off-putting in and of itself for the show. Like I tuned in a few years ago and I was just like, I can't watch this shit anymore. They're just screaming.
I mean, you're talking to a stand-up comic. I have to have some levity, otherwise I'll die. Like
it's crazy. They seem very unhappy, and also it reflects in their coverage. And I don't know. I mean, look, again, I don't care about that but I hope they're okay. At the end of the day, I don't want Anna to be suffering. I don't want things to be
I hope that she finds the peace she's looking for. Right now, we got a Thelma Louise situation, but there ain't no cliff. They're just driving around in circles. Like, I don't know where we're going, but they've made a blood pact. And like, you know, I feel like we're along for the ride. And I just want to clarify, like, I've never been an employee at TYT. I've got another story for another time. There was a close call. I could have sued. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I've never been a full-time employee. I get asked to be on and I say yes or no. I rarely say no. I don't think I'm ever going to be asked to be back on the main show. Ever. I think that was sealed. If not after I had Mondale Robinson on, if not after I interviewed Jank, I think probably by putting out a Curb Your Enthusiasm meme, that was sealed.
Damn.
But I would love to go on and actually have a robust debate like I've often floated to
We
Jank.
offered them too. I mean, Sam has offered multiple times and he says he's a grifter, which is very funny because I have to beg Sam to buy new shirts today. Again, his shirt had a hole in the sleeve. It's like, he wears the same 5. I'm sorry. He wears the same 5. And I can tell, I'm like, that's the one, that's the white one with the blue marker. Like, why don't you just buy another J. Crew factory shirt? I know they're like $40, dude. Please.
They're not. I mean, I feel like they're like 25 at this point. Depends on what you're buying from. But yeah, go to Marshall's. What are we doing? No, yeah, exactly. It is. And that's the other thing is like, if we're doing it for clicks, it's personally, it's because I don't got a salary. I buy my healthcare, and I have
in the media business
ever since 2016 when I started working with TYT. I took maternity leave, but not really because nobody was paying me, as I had to take time off to have a child and to raise a child. Never was on TYT salary. Never was offered any compensation for that time. I've given them a lot of my time, and again, I don't regret it. I've enjoyed it. But it is a stretch to ever say, I would never say they have to thank me. And I would never say that I would thank them. It's adults. It's it's work. That's what it is. We are adults. We are not loyalists, and no one should be a loyalist to any place that they work for or anyone.
And if they expect it's unprofessional to put your personal relationships over your integrity and your journalistic integrity and how you call these things. It was upsetting for me to have to sever that tie. I don't like to do it. I said, I've made this joke before. Ask my exes. I stay in relationships. I've stayed in relationships way too long when I shouldn't have. I don't like doing it. But I had to make that decision because I had to put my professional integrity over my personal desire to like make things right with a company that I had admired my whole life and people there who I had been like so excited to become close with or friendly with or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what they're such their egos are really so out of control and their egos are shattered. And I think that's part of why she's making up all these lies. But at the end of the day, no one would care about what any of these leftist streamers had to say if people weren't tapping into what they're saying. No one's distorting what you're saying. Everybody just thinks it's BS, and that's why they're clicking and why they're not really watching your show anymore.
Yeah, literally, TYT's done, bro. They're like they're going the way of the dodo. Extinct. Bye.
Emma, let's leave it there. Thank you so much. And you know what? I think it's people were like, oh, I'm sorry, Anna attacked you. I'm like, dude, Emma actually worked there. Emma's, this is not the first time that Anna spiraled out attacking Emma. Like, so she's been there, done that. So like, Thank you for standing up for me. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it meant something to me, and I appreciate you. And everyone needs to be watching.
Stick together. Look, I mean, I last thing I'll say on this, I have regret. I should have stood up for like Olayemi, who's also my friend back in the day, but I was still trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. And when I saw her say that no one would listen to you, I mean, I'm about to get mad. Francesca, you're brilliant and you're smart and you're funny.
I know.
And like,
I know. No,
there are so few women. I mean, Crystal is like, there are some dynamite superstar women in this space that we all need to be banding together and standing together. Like, you know, I work in an all-male office. A majority of our audience is male. We need to bring in women into the progressive movement.
Not mine.
So
I'm like 75-25 female male.
Oh damn, I need to get into
like a good 10 non-binary. So not even tripping. No, exactly. That's exactly right. There are so few women in this space, and we do have to support one another. Emma Vigeland, you're the best. She's the best. Literally the last like 15 months of genocide. You know, your coverage has been so critical, and I think a lot of people are finding out about you with Sam, but also separate from. You know, I think if the TYT meltdown is another lesson, it's like never speak in we's because it gets weird. Don't do that.
Right.
Anyway, awesome. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here, and
appreciate you. Thanks.
Appreciate you, and thank you all for being here. There's some relevant comments I wanted to just shout out.
Now on to our last topic, AOC's message.
What we can do about it, what our marching orders are. Up. Hello, everyone.
I'm gonna go grab some food.
Just giving it a second for folks to join. Let's talk about what's going on. We are going to discuss
I'll be right back, y'all.
What is happening right now, what we can do about it, what our marching orders are, and what Democrats can be doing, what we are doing that also isn't being communicated to the public as much. So let's fix some of this. But hello, everybody. All right. 20K on, let's talking about it. All right. So first things first. One of the things that I want you all to understand is that if you are watching the news right now and you are feeling overwhelmed by all of the constant headlines and developments and what is happening and, you know, federal government changes over here and ICE raids over here and plane crashes over there, and you are feeling so overwhelmed. First of all, know that you are not alone. And second of all, know that that is exactly what this administration is trying to get you to feel. They are trying to get people to feel, and someone said Musk, yeah, you got Elon Musk raiding the federal government and the Treasury. There's all this stuff going on, and it is so easy, and it's natural when you see all of this stuff falling apart to get paralyzed because all of it is so overwhelming and you don't know what to do about it. But it's also very pressing information, and so you know it's going to affect your life or the life of people that you know. But what do you do about it? What is Congress doing about it? What's our leadership doing about it? The first order of business is to self-regulate. What authoritarian regimes try to do is that they often try to, what is known as flood the zone, do so much at once, or try to do so much at once that it gets carried in the news that you feel overwhelmed and paralyzed. And it's important for you to understand that the paralysis and shock that you feel right now is the point. They are trying to induce a state of passivity among the general public. So it is of personal importance for you, and it is also of political importance to take a breath. That does not mean tune out. That does not mean get apathetic. It does not mean, you know, to just that you just have to forget or whatever. It just means take a breath, because we are about to lock in and focus. And I already know you. I already hear you all. How do I focus? What do I do? Just take the breath first, okay? Take the breath first. Now, let's talk about all the different things that are going on. And again, a little bit of a preview of how do you say, a little bit of a preview of what the answer is that we are going to have to divide and conquer, okay? So no, you as one human being are not going to be able to appoint a new FAA administrator that Elon Musk forced out. You and you as an individual are not going to be able to tackle the FAA crisis, tackle the OPM crisis, tackle like all of these things at once. Go, ICE, immigration, criminal, all of this stuff, and that's okay. Pick some of the things and trust that when we have mass mobilization, we are going to be addressing these things. Do what you can. That's the second principle, okay? Do what you can. You do not, and what you can do is enough, okay? Do what you can, and what you can do is enough. That's principle number 2. Now, and again, what can we? I'm gonna get there. Relax, take a breath. We're gonna get there. What is going on is so comprehensive, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you all as comprehensive an overview as I can so we can figure out, and you can have the tools to figure out how to lock in and how to mobilize. So that's number 1 and number 2. Now, someone said I should make a handbook. Maybe we will. Now, let's talk about a couple of things. I want to give an overview as to what is happening right now. Donald Trump, as we saw, was inaugurated several weeks ago. And who you saw behind him mattered. The people who stood behind Donald Trump at his inauguration are some of the people that are playing a major role in upholding and supporting what is going on. That is important to know because we need to know who are the folks that are responsible. And as we all saw, when Donald Trump was sworn in, he had several billionaires standing behind him. He had, of course, Elon Musk. He had Jeff Bezos. He had Mark Zuckerberg. You also had the CEOs of major corporations like TikTok and Apple, etc. These are people who are taking part in their own way, the same way that I'm telling you all to kind of divide and conquer. They are also dividing and conquer. They're acting very strategically, and they are each playing their own role, right? So the way that they're playing their own role, we can each be playing our own role, all right? Now, everyone's like, all this stuff. I'm just gonna tell you all right now, if you cannot lock in for this comprehensive conversation, there's no like BuzzFeed, TikTok, 5 tips to dismantling fascism. We gotta lock in, okay? This is a lock-in conversation. So maybe people will be making TikTok compilations after this, feel free, etc. But I have a lot here that I need to download to you all right? So a lot of you are asking about Elon. What do we do? What is, and that is the right question to be asking, because what Donald Trump has done is that he has completely given up his power and handed a lot of it over to Elon Musk. Elon Musk has appointed some teenagers and some people in their early 20s into essentially trying to raid federal government systems, including sensitive and classified information at the US Department of Treasury. They are doing this. I want to tell you their story. Their stories that they're doing this to, and they're just like wholesale, as we saw, freezing federal programs, that and the Trump administration tried doing this through an executive order, freezing federal programs, freezing federal financing. That's why they went for the US Department of Treasury. They're going for the money first. They are taking data. We are also hearing preliminary reports that they are potentially stealing that data and downloading it for private use, which of course is alarming, okay? This moment is scary, but we need to go in eyes wide open, all right? The paralysis as a response to fear is understandable, but we have to acknowledge what's happening and then we're gonna get somewhere, okay? They are taking access to the Treasury Department. They are firing career level federal employees. And I want you to know that there are two broad categories of federal workers. There are political appointees. Those are the people, as you can imagine, who are, when a president changes, when a new president is elected, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, they can appoint a whole slew of federal workers. Those are known as political appointees. Then there are career professionals. These are people who are not political. These are people who have spent 10, 20, 30, 40 years of their lives managing the administration of Medicare payments, of Social Security checks, of science research in how we find cures for diseases from everything from cancer to diabetes, from our national energy systems. Our air traffic controllers are career professionals. They are not, a new president can't just get elected and snap their fingers and politically appoint an air traffic controller, because that requires years of training. And these are what are known as federal career workers. What is alarming about this moment, one of the things that they're doing is that they're going after money and they're going after people, okay? They're going after money there we go, sorry about that. They're going after money with the U.S. Treasury Department, and then they're going after people, which is known as OPM. You're gonna be hearing OPM a lot. That's the Office of Personnel Management. And by the way, again, this stuff is important because one of the most important things that you can do in an environment and a time like this is to educate yourself. Knowing what is going on is not the same thing as reading a headline, okay? Knowing how things work, political education. This stuff is important because you can't do anything if you don't know where the vulnerabilities are and understand the big picture, okay? So I'm gonna get to all of your questions, but pump the brakes, okay? Breathe. Now, once again, two areas. They're going after the money with the U.S. Treasury Department, and they're going after the people, which is OPM, Office of Personnel Management, the federal career appointees. It is normal for a president to come in and to largely dismiss a lot of the previous administration's political appointees. They have the right to do that. What Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing is that they're going in and they are gutting the career professionals who have legal protections, who have decades of experience, and we will say they are playing with fire in doing that. Why are they playing with fire? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I represent LaGuardia Airport. It's in my district, not too far. So I represent LaGuardia Airport. Unsurprisingly, a lot of the neighborhoods around airports are filled with workers for those airports. So I know a decent amount about airports, air traffic control, flights, etc. These are kind of the weird things that happen when you're a member of Congress. You become like experts in these very niche things that affect your community. So
you're about to go hard, bro.
Many of my workers, many of my constituents who are workers at LaGuardia and also who serve JFK Airport, are experiencing and seeing what is happening up close. This stuff, all of this stuff matters because it's connected. And when you see how it's connected, you feel less overwhelmed because you start to see a central theme emerge, and it doesn't feel like you have to tackle 100 things. It starts to feel like you're tackling a handful of things, okay? So you have this OPM dismissal and federal freezing. Last week, and also in the last 2 weeks, Donald Trump, 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump gets sworn in. Elon Musk then puts pressure on both Donald Trump and applies political pressure to dismiss the FAA, the Federal Aviation Commission, or rather the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administrator. They put pressure, Elon Musk put pressure to dismiss the FAA administrator. Now, why did he do that? Theme, okay? Elon Musk put pressure on him because the FAA administrator was advocating for, I believe, either fines or other sorts of punitive measures on Elon Musk because of violations that they were doing over at SpaceX around safety. So Elon pressures, Elon pressures the Trump administration and forces the dismissal of an FAA administrator. That's part number one. Then a week later, or a couple of days later, the Trump administration, through OPM, through Elon Musk, through all these people, then send this ham-fisted letter out to virtually every federal employee, including some of the workers at LaGuardia Airport, and including virtually almost every air traffic controller in the United States, saying, we want you to leave your job. And we are going to offer you a quote-unquote buyout, which is not a buyout, mind you, and whose legality is highly questionable, and their ability to even uphold to their promise is, virtually none at all, saying, we want to push out every federal worker, including air traffic controllers. And what happens? What do we see? In an environment where air traffic controllers are already extremely strained, we do not have enough air traffic controllers in the United States. This has been a long rolling crisis in this country. And the reason we don't have air traffic controllers is because Republicans have cut budgets for training, for investment, for the federal pipeline and procuring air traffic control. That job, as we know, is not a joke. You can make one mistake and hundreds of people can be dead. But it has been taken seriously enough that we have not had a significant airline crash in this way in, I believe, since 2009. Anyways, all of this is to say is that they then push all these air traffic controllers and give them all a letter saying it's time for you to go. And also, what happens? Now we have an initial plane crash that has occurred. When we mess with federal government systems, lives are at stake. And this rhetoric that Elon Musk and MAGA and whatever have made in ginning up all of this conspiratorial mentality in order to get people to think that none of this matters and it can all be gutted is designed for exactly this kind of outcome.
Oh, my bad. I gotta change the topic.
At the end of the day, the federal government the United States federal government is responsible for some of the most sensitive, broad-based, and important infrastructure, not just in the country, but in the world, okay? So this is what they are doing. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? You have not just OPM, but then you have, for example, Elon Musk talking about USAID, and he's like, we're gonna dismantle USAID. He then also posts today, and this gives you a hint, he then also posts today about a very specific federal program at the Treasury, which is known as Direct File. Direct File, if you go on my rep page, you go out to, this is my personal account, but if you go to my rep AOC account, one of the pinned posts actually is about Direct File, because we spent years standing up to the lobbyists at TurboTax and H&R Block who take your money every year for you to file your own damn taxes with the federal government. And we wanted you to be able to do that for free. You can do it and have the option of doing it for free.
Now they got rid of it. They're gonna get rid of it.
Now, what does that have to do with this present moment? Well, I find it very interesting that it's tax season. January 1st just happened. A lot of people just got their tax return forms. And between now and April is the time where these multi-billion-dollar corporations, or the corporations that own them, or multi-million-dollar corporations, depending on who you are about to make a bunch, or could stand to lose a bunch of money because the public finally won a free option that rolled out last year and also rolled out a year and a half ago. Now, all of a sudden, very interestingly, Elon Musk posts that he's quote-unquote deleting the Direct File program. They are not doing this because they care about you, obviously. They are not doing this because they care about this country. And they certainly are not doing this because they care about Republican voters. I will tell you that much right now. Because if they cared about everyday people and everyday working people, the first targets for their little raid, which is illegal, we'll get to that in a second, would not be the most essential services that can actually give people a break. They would not be going after Medicaid. They would not be going after your direct file. They would not be taking that and deleting that option, the free option for you, right before April 1st, right in the time before April 1st when you're supposed to be filing your taxes. Elon Musk.
Bro, this is a straight up class, a literal class war going on between these fucking oligarchs. They know it. They know they're in the rich fuck side.
Is a billionaire raiding the US federal government for personal profit and for the profit of his friends. And so every single person that you saw standing behind Donald Trump at his inauguration is part of this. They may not be publicly vocal about it, but they sent a very strong message with their presence, okay? So don't let any of them act like, oh, I didn't know. Yes, they knew. Apple are in, they're apparently there's preliminary reporting that they might be rolling out Starlink, which is Elon Musk's firm, into iOS systems. You have Jeff Bezos, who runs the Washington Post, who refused and overrode their editorial board. They are controlling media, they are controlling digital communications, and they're doing all of this to prop up Trump so that they can personally profit, okay? That, at the core, is what is happening. Now, we see what's going on. What are we gonna do about it? All right, okay? And also, one more important thing. This is the most important thing. I want you all, one of the important lenses that I want you all to interpret all of this happening through is through a very important deadline that is happening in the federal government. And once you understand this, you will understand, and all of this chaos is going to start making sense, okay? Something very big is happening this year. And it's part of the structure around which all of this chaos is occurring. Because why is Elon Musk raiding the Treasury? Why are they suspending federal funding? Like, this goes beyond being a Democrat or a Republican. This is anarchy. This is just taking all this stuff over. So why at the core are we doing this? In addition to just sheer hatred, because as we see, Elon Musk, you know, maybe you can take the boy out of apartheid, but you can't take apartheid out of the boy, apparently. He's out here doing Nazi salutes, so yeah, whatever. But in addition to a white supremacist, like whatever it is that they want to do, let's talk about, you always comes down to follow the money. There is a very important deadline that is happening this year. In 2017, Donald Trump and the Republican Party forced through one of the largest tax giveaways to the rich in modern American history. This was in 2017. We are talking about grotesque levels of tax cuts that they issued at that time. We're talking about CEOs and people being able to them proposing tax cuts on tax write-offs on yachts and private jets, but most importantly, some of the most broad-based tax cuts for the rich and the 1% in this country that we have ever seen. That happened in 2017. So why is that important to today? Those tax cuts had a sunset period, and that sunset period occurs in 2025. 2025. Perfect. So now we're here. And right now, what is happening is that all of these tax cuts that billionaires and millionaires have been just getting high off the hog on over the last couple of years are now about to run dry if they do not reauthorize them, if they do not extend them, and not only if they do not extend them, but ideally they want to add to them. Massive tax cuts for some of the largest corporations that exist in America and in the world. And so they have a massive thing at stake. So right now, their task is to extend these tax cuts. And what Elon Musk wants is for these tax cuts to not only be extended, but to apply to him in a larger way than ever before so that he can amass even more money than ever before. So what does that mean? The problem with extending, they have a little wrinkle in extending some of these massive